This episode is brought to you by Naked Fig Soap. Shop over a dozen handcrafted artisan soaps locally sourced and made in Arizona using the finest non-toxic intentional ingredients. Naked Fig Soap also offers facial care products along with accessories like soap dishes, soap saver bags, and more.
Visit their website at nakedfigsoap.com and use code DRUMMINGUP, all one word, for 20% off online orders. And that is the best place to find her now.
Yes.
She doesn't really have a storefront so much as she has
As of right now.
Yeah, as of right now,
Yes.
she has her products in certain locations,
Yes.
which again is the best place to find her is at her nakedfigsoap.com website
Yes.
or her socials. Instagram is a great spot to find her. Ask her any questions where she's going to be at like a farmer's market.
Yes.
You can find all that out. Or
But coming up, she's
Yeah.
moving to bigger and better opportunities.
Yes, absolutely. And we're very happy to hear that because,
Yes.
we just want to make
She's one
sure
of our
she's doing
favorite,
okay.
favorite companies.
Oh, yeah. Whenever we're getting low, we always place our order.
Yes.
And again, use that code drumming up,
Yes.
all one word, to get that 20% off discount.
For sure.
nakedfigsoap.com. It'll be in the show notes. We'll have her website. And then the best thing to do is from the website, go find her socials, follow her. That helps her. And by you doing that, it helps us because we know you're listening. We know you're buying her great products. She also offers tattoo care and everything too.
Yes,
so
she does.
just a ton of stuff that she does. It's all locally made and everything. So what was that website again?
That is nakedfigsoap.com.
Using code drumming
Drumming
up,
Up.
all one word, for 20% off at checkout.
Hi there, this is Julian of Gorod, and you are listening to Drumming Up Conversation. Hell yeah.
Drumming up conversation. Drumming up, yeah. Drumming up, drumming up conversation. Drumming up, drumming up, drumming up conversation. Drumming up, drumming up, drumming up conversation. Drumming up, drumming up, drumming up conversation. Yeah!
Hello and welcome to Drumming Up Conversation. I'm Justin Wood.
I'm Andrew. Intro and outro music is provided by Arizona prog metal band Temporal Displacement. You can find their music anywhere you find your favorite music. You can email us at drummingupconversation@gmail.com. You can follow us on YouTube. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and
YouTube.
YouTube at Drumming Up
All right.
Conversation, and on X at Drum Conversing. And you can find our audio versions of our podcast on Spotify. Make sure to subscribe,
Give us a rating.
give us a rating, and
Review,
tell a
everything.
friend.
Tell a friend, yes. And today we are joined by Steve and Randy of Pulp. They're a local Flagstaff band. How are you guys doing today?
We're good, pretty good.
Awesome.
good, pretty good.
Awesome. So yeah, we ran into Steve at the Monte Vista, I guess the
At the
bar,
Yeah, the cocktail lounge.
cocktail lounge. There we go.
Yeah.
And we started talking music, and you let us know that it's all good. That you had a band here and everything. So we looked into you guys and started checking out. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, you're really
Thank you.
We thought of more of metal than punk, though.
Yeah, we get that a lot.
Okay. Okay.
I think because there's a lot of grindcore influence in our
Yeah.
music.
Which we're more metalheads than anything anyway, so it's like right up our alley.
Oh,
So,
sick. Yeah, I mean,
Mm.
I think it's more or less because we all come from like hardcore punk backgrounds.
mhm.
We just like got better at our instruments,
Yeah.
and when I was looking over the questions and some of the stuff you're gonna add that we're gonna talk about later, like we pretty much go through phases like every 6 months, because we're always writing and like the music's always kind of changing,
Good.
I mean, as long as as long as it sounds like a band you would call Face Pulp, like
For sure, yeah.
yeah. If it sounds like it punches you in the face,
Yeah.
then yeah, we're with it.
So what age did you guys start like getting into music and playing instruments and all that?
I was like 22, 23 years
Oh, wow.
old
Okay.
in Tucson, Arizona.
Oh, okay.
I started when I was 14 in St. Pete, Florida,
Oh, wow.
and I'm
Okay.
37 now.
Okay, cool.
So I've been
Cool.
doing it a long time.
And what are some of your influences, bands, musicians, and all that?
I was heavily influenced by bands like His Hero Is Gone and like an old Southwest sound from the 90s, like Logical Nonsense and Word Salad and the American Death Trip, and bands like that.
I I don't know. I think it's a weird question for me. It depends on what instrument I'm playing.
Oh, okay.
Uh, as far as drums go, I mean, I like bands like Converge, Cult Leader, things like that, I guess.
Okay.
And I love His Hero Is Gone.
Okay.
Um, but for like composition influence, which I don't use a ton of in this band, I'm more into like stuff that's more melodic, like stuff I play guitar for would be like bands like Akaya, Tragedy, His Hero's Gone,
With Straka.
Straka, yeah.
Okay.
So, but I mean, I like pretty much every genre and subgenre of punk metal and hardcore.
Okay.
I'm really not that picky. I don't like beat down, I'm just gonna hit the low note, kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Like I hate that. But other than that, I pretty much like everything.
Okay. Very cool.
So,
Nice. And yeah, so did you have musical families when you were growing up or anything like that, or just kind of found it on your own?
No, my parents gave me they plopped me down in front of their record player when I was a little kid because I had problems memorizing things.
Okay.
And I found the music to be way more interesting than the school that I had to try to memorize.
Do you remember what some of that music was?
Uh, like the Beatles, the Who, anything that had lyrics attached to it, pretty much.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you play any instruments?
I play the drums badly.
Me too.
Yeah, I was in a band for a short time playing the drums, but it was nothing I practiced hard enough on
Yeah.
to get better at. I probably could have, but I didn't.
he writes a lot.
It's cool.
Yeah.
That's good though.
Yeah.
Writing's good.
Yeah, I write a lot of words.
Yeah.
Nice.
I consider him to be an angry poet.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
Good way to put it.
What about you? Did you have any musical background?
No, I'm a black sheep in my family.
Yeah.
Everyone in my family thinks I'm a stupid idiot and, an asshole. So,
So,
um, but I guess I got a little story I could tell.
Sure.
So, around the time I was in middle school, like sixth or seventh grade, I asked for a drum set. I was just like, I want to play drums, blah, blah. My mom was like, hell the fuck no. She didn't want me playing music like at all. She still doesn't. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. She hates it.
I think it's so important for kids.
Is it a religious thing or just
I mean, my mom is she's more religious now than she ever was when I was a kid.
yeah?
She kind of I don't know. I don't want to get into the conversation with your mother.
Yeah. No, you're fine. No, we
But
don't.
yeah. So, and when I was in middle school, really started wanting to play music. I started skateboarding when I was really young, so I had a lot of teenage friends that were listening to like a lot of hardcore punk and thrash metal and gangster rap and shit. And I can curse, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Good that you asked after the.
Sorry.
Permission. Then,
Yeah,
Oh, you're good.
so I was, getting into that stuff, and I really wanted to play. And my uncle was all about it, and he low key bought me a drum set. My grandma got really pissed because she knew my mom was going to be pissed. So he returned it, and he got me those Squire P bass packs that come with the little practice amp for like
Yeah.
$200. They've been $200 for like 30 years. So he got me like that set up, and my mom really didn't like that either, and neither did her current husband. So that didn't go over very well. Anytime I plugged the thing in or turned it on, if they were home, it was like a no-go.
Mhm.
So eventually, after I left home, I got emancipated eventually and was like making my own money. So around the time I was 18, like 17 or 18, I can't remember exactly. I had my own money and I knew what guitar I wanted because at the time I was getting really into bands like I mentioned earlier, like Akaya, His Hero's Gone, etc. But growing up around the area where I was at, um, Kylesa was a really big deal and they were not popular yet. Baroness was a big deal and they were not popular yet. So all of them kind of played an influence too. I also grew up in the Tampa Bay area for most of my life, so there's a lot of rich history, not just with death metal, but with like all sorts of different stuff, you know, like Ass Suck, Reversal of Man, The Holy Mountain. So I was influenced by all those bands too, and I wanted to start writing music. Uh, and when I started, you know, hearing music that was super aggressive but sounded beautiful, there was something about that. I know that doesn't apply to Facepalt, but there was something about it that just made me go like,
It's pretty.
that just made me go, wow, man, I didn't even know you could do that. So I started really getting interested in writing. And I ended up saving up like $500 and I asked my grandma if she would help me pay for the rest for like a Christmas present or some shit or a birthday. And she ended up covering the rest of the money. I got an Ibanez SZ, which was the exact guitar I wanted. I still have that guitar. I still play that guitar.
That's awesome.
And she bought me a case for it, like a hard case, everything that I needed that was extra because the guitar was like, 600 and something bucks.
Wow. Okay.
So she helped me out. Um, and then fast forward a couple more years, I've been living in a lot of punk houses, playing in a lot of bands, doing different things. And I was always playing my friend's drums and always annoying everyone around me, but it was supportive annoyance.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, yeah.
it wasn't like, living at home. And yeah, I just really, really that urge to play drums just like never left because that was the original instrument I wanted to play.
Mhm.
Um, so I bought it when I was 20 years old. Once again, making my own money, had my own thing. I bought my first drum set. And I've been playing ever since.
Is that the one you have now, the Ludwig?
Oh, hell no.
Okay.
That's new.
The is
The
that the John Bonham edition, pretty much, the one you have
pretty
now?
much,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Cool.
obviously it's like a replica.
Yeah.
And like for the record, I'm not really like a Led Zeppelin fan.
I'm really not either.
Yeah, yeah. I so my old kit was a piece of shit. Um, every part on it at that point was from a different drum set.
Okay.
And I was playing those buckets for years, you know. And we went to record with our friend Brandon Hayden down in Prescott. And when I showed up with my drums, he was like, "What in the actual fuck is this shit?" So he ended up like pulling out one of his kits for me to use. That was really nice. It was some Pearl kit. I don't know. It was sounded great. It was way better than what I was using. And I started asking him. I was like, like what would you recommend? Blah blah blah. Like I think I just need to be a real adult and get a real drum set.
Yeah, yeah.
You know. Uh, and he suggested that Fab 3 Vista Lite.
Okay.
But the last thing he said about it, and I trust his opinion with a lot of different things, was just, but shop around, look around. He was like, if you can find out the information, like look up a couple records you really like and see if you can find out, what the drummer used,
Mhm.
like what kit they used. And so essentially what I used for a reference as far as tone was all the early Russian Circle stuff from like the early 2000s, the Jesus Lizard classic album Goat, uh, and this newer band out of Austin, Texas called Glassing that I'm super into. They have a couple of releases out now. Um, like I did the research. It was easy to figure out Jesus Lizard and Russian Circles, and it was that Ludwig kit, that
Okay.
same one.
Nice.
And then I messaged Glassing on Instagram because we follow each other, and we used to shoot the shit every once in a while.
That's cool.
And I asked the drummer, I was like, dude, what are you playing? And most importantly, like, what is that snare? Uh, and he told me once again, we have the same thing with the kit and the Sakai snare, which I'm pretty sure is a brand that they don't make anymore. It's Japanese.
Okay.
Um, but I found one used for like 600 bucks, which is a lot of money to spend on a snare drum. But
I've spent more.
yeah, I bet you have.
Ludwig Black Beauty, $850. But man,
Wow.
I'll have that the rest of my life.
Oh, yeah.
That thing's
What was your Vinnie Paul one?
that was like 500.
Oh, okay.
That thing's like this deep.
Oh yeah,
It's 8.5 by 14. It just
I-
sounds like a marching snare.
yeah, I love a fatty snare.
Yeah.
You know, like these kids, these damn kids, they're all into like this like shitty ping ting ting
Little
sound
piccolo
now.
snares are like that thin.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, that cake pan sounds like shit.
It's the Lars Ulrich edition from Saint Anger.
Yeah, yeah. Man,
Ding, ding,
man,
ding.
if the hardcore mincers just listen to Saint Anger, they would have their drum tone right there.
Just sample that.
Yeah, right. Just cut out the middleman and just play that instead of
Yeah.
themselves.
So where did the name come from and who came up with it?
Mason, our guitar player.
Okay.
Mason and I have been jamming a lot longer than this band's been a real band. Mason's considerably younger than Steve and I. He's 24 now, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I have been jamming with Mason since he was like 18 or 19 years old. And at the same time, I was living here. I just moved here, and I was trying to find people to play music with and start a band with, and it took a long time.
Yeah.
Like a really long time. So we were jamming for a while. COVID happened. Then we didn't see each other for like a year and a half.
I get that.
And
we were too,
yeah, he went down to Tucson, and then obviously he came back up here. We started jamming again, and then we got our original bass player, which was our friend Trevor. We started jamming at his house, and we had a singer before Steve, and he didn't work out. We kicked him out. He cared more about hanging out at the bar with his friends and having band practice. And like, I like to drink too, but
you could do both and be responsible with
yeah,
it.
exactly.
I call it giving a shit.
Yeah.
Drinking while giving a shit. Like,
Yeah.
I'll have a beer or two just to, whatever. But like the music's the most important thing. If I can't do both, I got to give up the drinking. So
Yeah, no, same.
yep. And I've been there, done that. I've had a guy that like got wasted on stage and just passed out. Just
Oh, we've all had those band members.
yeah. I'm just like, okay, like I'm glad I'm not like that, but it's like I'm just not going to tolerate that ever again. I don't care how talented you are. It's just not worth it.
No, I agree with you. I actually don't really care that much about talent when it comes to playing with people.
Yeah.
Early
On I did, but now that I've gotten older and more mature with it, I'm like, no, none of that is worth it. I want to be able to talk to the person, have communication, write together. Just like I want to look forward to spending time with these people.
Yeah, so much. Yeah, and more importantly, somebody who shows up.
Yeah, my friend Alex. Like I remember years ago when I was in a band with him, and it was just like, how do we get to be in a band with you? He's like, just show up, just be there.
Yep. Be there on time and be ready to go.
Yeah, and practice. Like, so that's just it. So our first bass player, Trevor, we still love him. He moved to Virginia. That's why he's not in the band anymore. And when we first started jamming with him, the Face Pulp songs that we were playing back then were not nearly as hard as the ones that we play now. And he could not keep up. Like, but he tried, he practiced, and eventually he got better. I mean, just after like 6 to 9 months of playing with me and Mason, it was like, holy shit, dude. Like, he went from being like really mediocre to like, oh fuck, he's picking this stuff up fast now.
Which means he put in the 10,000 hours when you guys weren't around.
Oh no, and I actually know he did. I know he did.
That's cool.
When we weren't there, he was practicing. He was playing every day. And he's only been out of the band since like we played our last show with him before we went on tour last year in September. And by that point, we were already starting to write songs that weren't in 4/4 all the time. We were like, the riffs were getting harder. It was getting mathier a lot. And like, he was having zero problems learning anything.
Awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
How did you both end up in Flagstaff?
Oh, Well, on Thursday will be my 21st anniversary of living here.
Yeah.
And I had to get away from Tucson because I had issues saying no to certain drugs. And my friends from here, they were in a band called Stab City Slit Wrists. Them and another local guy named I Hate You When You're Pregnant. They're on tour through Seattle. And I was like, well, I'm clean off of drugs. I'm 27 and I live with my dad. I gotta figure this out. And they're like, why don't you move to Flagstaff? And I did.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Go ahead.
this was and this is the first place that everything just worked out. I got a job pretty quickly. I got a place to live pretty quickly. I found a band pretty quickly. So yeah, this is worth sticking around for.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I moved here in 2018. Um, I just had to get the fuck out of Florida. Um, my daughter-in-law graduated, and then, you know, my wife and I just like we wanted to leave and get the fuck out of there. And so we did. She wanted to move back west because she's originally from Death Valley, but she has spent most of her adult life in San Diego or Phoenix. I told her I was down to move anywhere as long as it wasn't fucking hot. Um, and she said, "How about Flagstaff?" I was like, "Where the fuck is Flagstaff?" She was like, "Arizona." I was like, "Fuck that. I'm not moving to Arizona." I said nowhere hot.
Right.
Like, because I had been,
Common misconception.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
I had been to Phoenix and Tucson a few times, like on tour and stuff like that. So that's all I really knew.
Like I fucking toured there in
Yeah.
July, man. Fuck
Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
120 degrees on a good day, no, and like go up here and it's like negative 20. Like what the hell's going on?
Well, the I-10 goes from Jacksonville to San Diego. So, it was. Yeah, she showed me some pictures of when she's come up here and go camping and shit, and then I was sold. Now that I've lived here for as long as I have, and Flagstaff has changed so much, even in the short time I've been here, I actually fucking hate living here. But it is a great place to visit.
Yeah, that's what we do. We should have a house we can come to anytime, but it's just become so much like a lot of the other places around here that like even going downtown's different than it used to be.
It's just a tourist trap.
Yeah.
The local government doesn't really give a shit about you if you live here. They only care about NAU and the tourists and all it does is like tax us to death because, 80,000 people living here, we got to pay taxes for, 1 million people, to constantly be using all of our infrastructure and all of our bullshit.
Our cost of living is higher because people destroy the places that they live, so the landlords jack the rent up.
Yeah.
We have a friend that lived here for years and he just moved to Florida.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I would not move to Florida either, but,
My dad moved to Florida a few years back, and I was just like, man, that's the fourth time you've lived there. Did you not learn something the first three times?
Well, it is kind of a black hole because this is not the first time I left Florida either. You just, unfortunately, if you're tied to the place, there's always some kind of force that will drag you back.
Oh yeah. I mean, I went back to Tucson 3 times during the 90s into the 2000s.
Yeah. So, like, what is the writing process like since we've kind of gotten into that? Do you guys all write together, or do things separate? Does one of you like bring stuff in, the other ones add to it? Or?
It's always pretty much been me and Mason, but if Steve has an idea or when Trevor is still in the band, if he had an idea now with Landon, I mean, whatever it is, we'll try anything. But it's mostly just us. Mason usually brings like a riff or two.
Mhm.
And then, we've been playing together so long at this point, like, even if Steve's in the room, he'll just let us kind of work.
Cool.
And we usually, I don't know, we got a bond,
Yeah. I mean,
it happens very quickly.
And I'm pretty good at writing on scene.
Mhm.
Yeah, he'll be in there if he's there for the process, which he usually is, because he is a singer who shows up to practice all the time.
It's crazy.
I know it is.
Which is weird because I saved that seat for him so he could be at the top of the table and everything. He didn't take it.
No,
Does it
no.
have the LSD, huh?
No. But he also he does this amazing thing where like he helps us load in gear and put things away. It's fucking crazy. Yeah,
You
this
take
guy.
pictures to prove it?
No, we should.
I was in a project like in early 2000, and the drummer wouldn't let you get away with not helping or not being a part of that part of the process. Um, that and just the, you know, coming up in the punk rock scene in Tucson, there wasn't like there wasn't a lot of machismo going on as far as what you were doing. Like, so it wasn't like I'm the lead singer of a band. Like, my shit don't stink. Kind of.
I'm there 5 minutes before we go on, and I'm out of there 5 minutes after we're done. Kind of,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've had that.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, and I always thought it was just a part of the process of being in a band is like carrying gear,
Mhm.
making sure you get to the venue on time, making sure you stay for the whole thing because
Meet and greet and all that stuff.
yeah, or just the social aspect of
Yeah,
it too.
that's as important as playing the songs to me.
Yeah,
it
like
is.
getting out there and like, hey, you guys were great. No. Oh yeah, check us out. We're here, and feel free to reach out to us anytime. And yeah, that just makes such a difference on because like, man, I met all of them that night. That was really cool. To like, I didn't just meet one or two. I met all four of them, and we just got to talk. And they're super cool guys. And don't judge it by the music they're playing. They're really cool, dude. Because that's a big thing too. Is like I said, we're metalheads and stuff too. The same thing where it's like, oh, they're playing aggressive music, they're probably jerks, and they just want to fight all the time. It's like, no, we're the exact opposite. We're just getting some steam out. But we're the coolest dudes you'll meet because we're down to earth. We get it. We're here for the working people and the ones that we understand that money's tight, and we're just here to entertain. Stuff like that.
Yeah,
We just want
no.
to get out and meet everyone.
some of the most respectful crowds.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation too. Ain't it?
It's
Yeah,
debatable.
so it's I have always found, to be honest, in the DIY scene, like you know, um, when I was growing up, there was always kind of like a motivation to just help. You pull up to the venue, and we saw it on our last tour too. We did 24 shows in 27 days, and when we pulled up to like the DIY spots, where like all the teenagers were at and stuff, like they would always offer to like
Mhm.
help us bring stuff in. All the bands are always helping everybody out, and it's a lot different from some of the. I don't want to sound like I have my head on my ass, but some of the bigger things I've done where you show up to a place that's supposed to be super professional, and they're like, "Well, good luck."
Yeah, I've done both too. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
And
it's
it,
important because I have a generally somewhat big drum set too. Like it was on a rack and all that stuff. But
Mhm.
all my guys and some of the other people are like, "Hey man, like let's get this set up ahead of time. We'll help you lift it up there. And we're ready to go." I'm like, "Yeah," because that can give us an extra song in the set too.
well, yeah, I mean
Because
that.
they include 40. You got 45 minutes. That's to set up, play, and tear down.
Mhm.
So if we can get set up in 5 or 10 minutes less amount of time, we get an extra song in there.
Well, what drives me nuts? This is a drumming up conversation podcast. Drummers out there, listen to me. Stop setting up your drums and tearing them down on stage.
Yes.
Even if you are playing a house show, stop doing that.
Yep.
Also, you're going to learn once you're not 22 anymore and you actually spend a lot of money on gear that you're not going to want to share your drums, or you're not going to want to use somebody else's drums. You're going to want to play your own. Part of being the band comes with some responsibilities. So even if I'm playing a house show or a very small venue and there's not a place for me to pre-set up my drum set, guess what, bud? You're going to miss half of the band before you. Go outside, set your shit up on the fucking sidewalk, and get it ready so you can carry it straight to wherever you're going to play. And as soon as you're done, you don't need to talk to anybody right away. Stand up, start grabbing your shit, and pull it off the stage and take it to somewhere to break down. When you are done doing that, then you can go socialize. I know this is really lost. I have done this timing with friends that are around my age around who all think I'm insane when I start talking about things like this. Especially because I don't like to backline kits.
Mhm.
I don't like to use the same drum set all night.
Yeah.
When I was letting people do that with my drums, before the Ludwig, my shit was breaking and getting beat up fucking constantly,
Yep.
and it sucked. Not to mention, it didn't help the changeover times because every drummer that's gonna go up there is gonna adjust the heights. They're gonna move things around, so it's almost like you were setting up
your
on
own-
stage. Like, and I can't stress it enough.
Seems angry about it.
I am because I
it's
have
the
these little,
subject, yeah.
I have these little shits who fucking argue with me like I haven't been doing this almost my entire life.
Yeah, no, I mean
You
that's
know?
that's what we did. Yeah, I was because we had it time perfect, maybe 5 minutes to set
I'm
everything
set
up.
I'm set
Yep.
up and off the stage before our guitar or bass player.
Wow.
That's typically how
But,
we were.
yeah.
My lead singer would come back. He'd actually help me with the rack.
Yep.
Boom, boom, boom. Take that off stage, and then I start getting the little stuff real quick too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve.
The snare and the hi
I
hats.
can't tell you how many shows where when we get to the end of it and like I say we're face pulp, thank you, and I turn
Yep.
around and I grab 2 cymbal stands on my way to the merch.
Yeah, and I don't play a big kit.
Yeah.
I play a 4-piece.
Well, that's what I
with,
got the rack because it's like everything is really much other than the snare and like the pedals and the hi hat. Everything's pretty much all attached. So that was great for it because
Oh yeah, just two people lifting it, boom,
and then
done.
I'll grab the snare and the hi hat and I'm out of there. Like
Yeah, you need one of those racks if you have a really big kit.
Yeah.
It's like super necessary.
oh, and it speeds everything up.
It does, yeah.
Not like cymbal stand, cymbal stand, cymbal stand. It was just rack, boom, set up, put the bass drum in,
Done.
done.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
We saw a band at a club in Phoenix about, 6 months ago, maybe? The entire band did not play at all, but they were
Oh,
on stage.
it's a
with their
backing track.
instruments. The only thing the drummer did was hit cymbals, and the singer was just lip syncing.
Yeah, he had his mouth like
The
this,
guitar
or his hands like this. Yeah.
That's
Because there's a time where they just put their hands up, they're doing this, and their guitars are still going.
that's just sad.
Just cheering them on. I was like, no, this is bullshit. This is bullshit.
I would
I
have
say I had
We
a
did.
Yeah.
I had my friend's band did something like that. They did a 7-inch release party, and they played the 7-inch in its entirety, but they made instruments out of cardboard, and they had cardboard boxes that they drew like speaker cabinets on, and that's what their show was. Which and the funny part is the drummer like jumped off the stage and like broke his like ACL. I think he tore his ACL like at that show. It was like, man, if he just stayed behind the kit,
And did your
you're
job.
fine.
Yeah. I can't stand. I was
No.
like sitting here. I'm like, we're just all of us are musicians or like she's married to a musician and all that. But I was with like my old guitars and stuff. We're all just sitting there like, first of all, they sound really good and they should not sound this good. Second of all, it's the big thing was like I said when they lift their hands up, their guitars just go and their hands are up like this.
Yeah.
It's not like you're just letting a note ring out. You're like it's playing an actual like riff
Yo,
right now.
even when I've shot music videos, even when I've been a part of a music video, everybody still plays.
Mhm.
Like obviously all the sound and everything is edited out,
Sure.
but like you play the track over a fucking PA really loud and you play to it.
Yeah.
Like it's like that's like the closest I've gotten to faking it. I know.
Well, like always loved the Pantera videos because
What do
they were always playing their instruments. Like you could tell because the cymbals were ringing out and you could see them hitting the snare and the guitars were going and stuff. And it's like, but it was the recorded track.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I
but you
mean,
could tell these dudes are playing. Whereas
Right.
there's some where it's like, all right, you can just see the guys just kind of doing this and he's just pretending to hit. And
Yeah, or,
Well, that's
or the guitar is standing in front of the guitar cabinet and there's no chord to be found between the two. So you're like, well, that's symbolic.
that's the problem with
very
like
good.
big production stuff to me, man. Like
yeah.
I've been a stagehand and stuff for like really big music festivals and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And when it starts coming to the bigger bands, they all play the backing tracks. They're actually physically playing on stage, but there's a backing track
Mhm.
underneath everything that they're playing to. And so, in case they fuck up, nobody will notice kind of thing.
I
You
love
know?
fuck ups.
Yeah. Like, and to me, I'm just like,
I love it when they like miss the chorus or something, and it's like, wait, let's do it one more time. Like, oops. So
Well,
that's part of playing live.
You're
Like,
human.
yeah.
Like, you know, and it's the same thing. And I know this would be controversial, especially to a metalhead, but like, I fucking hate drum triggers, man.
Oh yeah.
Like,
No, I do too.
Yeah,
I've never
just-
used them. My
like-
favorite drummers don't use them. So
yeah. I never really like understood, you know, why you want your drums to sound like a keyboard. Because I don't, you know.
No, I'm the same way.
And I get it, you know, you're playing really fast, you might be hitting lighter. Well,
That's just what you're gonna have to deal with.
yeah. Set your stage up accordingly, you know.
You know what I used to do is I'd make friends with the sound guy. Like, hey man, like on this like song 3, I'm playing a little faster, so a little quieter. If you could bring my snare up just a little bit in the mix, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Most of the time they did.
Yeah, most of them. Yeah, I mean, I'm a sound guy,
Shoot 'em
and
five,
people
five or
cut-
$10 bill or something, they'll do it for you.
Or if you can't play that fast live, was it maybe suggest writing slower songs?
Well, mine was just it was
Going
just not hitting
all
so
the time.
hard.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like
No.
just bring it up just to, it wasn't even like brought it up like all the way. It's just a little bit so
Right.
it comes through the mix a little bit better.
Well, I got
So like you would do in a studio.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we actually have a new song right now that we haven't like played out or anything yet. But I do like a gravity blast at the end of the song, and it gets really quiet.
when you
But
get it right.
that's also why shut the fuck up. That's why we are really picky when we're playing places, like how we set up our amps on stage, because we play fast 90% of the time. So yeah, it's not gonna, you know, it
Yeah.
does lose volume. And at that point, you know, since we play out of half stacks, especially two, you put the amps all the way in the back. You pull the drums as far forward as whoever's standing in front is going to let you. That way you're cutting the mix, even if they don't mic anything, you know, or if they just do kick drum or something, you know. We've all played those spots. I actually love playing those kind of spots because I like being down and dirty on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't need everything, you know, my couple overheads, I'm good usually too. Like
Yeah.
kick drum and a couple overheads, like we're good. Like
Yep.
that's all I need. As long as it's picking it up the whole drum set.
Yeah, but when you put your stuff forward like that, no matter whether you got a sound guy or not, or it's just like a PA set up to run the vocals, like you'll sound good every time.
Yeah.
She's destroying that stick.
That's fine. We'll get it later.
She's eating it.
Oh,
Yeah,
So-
she's eating it.
okay.
But yeah, I'm all about that. Keeping the amps in the back, drums forward.
Sorry, the dog's eating a stick she brought in.
That's okay.
I'm gonna pause it real quick.
Sorry.
So do you guys record at your own studio, or do you have studios here that you record in?
Or do you record at home?
All the above.
Yeah, pretty much.
I am begging to record when we go to record next. The band seems pretty down. We do have a studio we can do it in, or we can do it at my house. I feel like from the first time I recorded us to now, I have just a lot more knowledge. I'm not really like proud of our full length in terms of like the quality. Like it sounds
cool and raw to me. That's
it's over compressed. It's just I don't know. I feel like we're also just one of those bands where I still feel like we haven't hit like a recording peak yet. Like I like people tell us all the time that we're way better live than on recording. And like I believe it. You know. The Lighting Fires single is actually my mix from back then versus the album mix, which was different. That was my friend Jacob who did that. But yeah, the studio in town is SFS Productions, but the most recent release, the Dog Store Spears split and this split that hasn't come out yet, was done down in Prescott with my friend Brandon. He recorded that, and that was when I got to play the nice kit and like just realize the difference and just be like,
Yeah.
man, I am not doing myself any favors.
Yeah.
Like I need to get a drum set. I'm still paying for it.
I was more comfortable with the recording in Prescott too.
Me too.
The way the vocals were done on the first album, like everything was done in pieces because I usually scream in a high and a low. So I did all the highs and then I went back and did all the lows, and it just never felt that comfortable.
That's good.
It can't match the energy of like just trying to belt it all out at one time.
And if you guys want to plug the studio, by all means, go for it. So yeah.
Yeah, SFS Productions. It's out on the east side by the mall.
Okay.
As far as our buddy who recorded us, Brandon, he recorded us in his living room. He was in a band called Ugly. They recently broke up, and his current main band is Witsec. And he's also in a long distance band that plays in Europe a lot called Endorphins Lost.
Very cool. And do you guys, because you have members that are further away, do you guys sometimes do the email thing with tracks and all that, or do you guys try to get
No,
live?
at least I don't know about I don't know. We don't record and then send tracks over to one or the other.
Mhm. Okay.
Landon is an exceptional musician, and he picks up on things very quickly. And we haven't recorded with him yet. So
Well, yeah, we're going to at the end of this year.
Yeah.
We were planning on recording at about this time, but right now Mason and I are just like kind of on a streak,
Okay.
so we don't want to like
Yeah.
stop. We're just gonna wait until we hit writer's
Oh, we
block
got
again.
like 7 or 8 new songs right now? 9.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, with the new one.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's cool.
So I mean, we're moving, you know.
Yeah.
We're and that's just been since the new year.
That's good that you have that mindset. Like, yeah, we wanted to, but no, we're on a roll. And until we're not, let's just keep writing.
Yeah,
Because
we're-
even if it goes like into the next album too, let's just keep knocking these things out. And
Yeah, yeah.
strike while the iron's hot. So
Well, I mean, we're not above. I mean, so I Grab and Detail has 15 songs,
uh-huh.
but there was 18.
Yeah.
And I mean, we did all of that in one weekend, just one big swoop.
Nice.
You know, the my drum day, I was there for like 13 or 14 hours. The next day, Mason doing both his guitars was there for about that long. And then Trevor took like 8. You know,
Where's your rehearsals at?
now we used to record at the studio
Mhm.
out by the mall.
Okay.
But now we practice at my house.
Why is that?
Because I moved into a house.
Okay.
And I don't.
I was gonna say because you're the drummer and
Yeah.
it'd always be at the drummer's house.
Yeah, well, that too.
If
But
you want to go on another, the more you know.
no, Mason and I got a place together, and it has a spare room, so
Cool.
we're just practicing in there now. And I like it a lot more. I like my music equipment at home versus having to drive all the way across town just because I want to play. I was really over that. Like I wanted it back in my house. The only reason why I moved all my stuff out to the studio was because I was living for most of the time I was living here. I was living in a 1-bedroom trailer, actually not too far from here. It was like by actual Lake Mary.
Okay.
And I had my studio set up in the front of it in the mudroom, like just like a really small setup. And the power in the front of the trailer blew like completely, and I had slumlords, so it never got fixed. I lived there for years without the power in the front of the trailer working. And they would always give me an excuse on, why they couldn't fix it.
Mhm.
And then after like 3 years or something like that, 2 or 3 years, they finally fixed it. But it was like, I didn't trust it.
Yeah.
Like it was done very poorly, and I already could tell. It was like good enough to charge your cell phone.
And we practiced at my house when I first got into the band as well.
Oh yeah, because that was after my trailer blew. I forgot about that.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
didn't spend a lot of time at the house, but
Mhm.
like, I have one roommate in a 4-bedroom house, so it was easy to maneuver a practice into it. So.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, at that time, fucking the 3 of us, me, Mason, and Trevor were like taking Mason's generator out to the middle of the woods and practicing in the woods.
That's cool.
That's what we were doing to make it happen. And he was with this girl at the time too. Mason was,
Mhm.
who had a cob house out in Kendrick Park. And we would go out there sometimes with the generator and practice too. So
And
Very cool.
yeah.
she's the one who suggested me to them.
Oh,
that's how we met.
I got into the band.
Awesome.
Trevor already knew Steve, but Mason and I had never met him before. So
Yeah, because I've been in several bands in town in the time that I've been here. So
Nice.
Where do you guys play? Do you play locally? Like, do you play at the Monte Vista?
We'll play like 2, maybe 3 times a year there. I've been the booking manager there for quite a while, and I always wanted to show the other people that I work with that I'm not trying to take advantage of that situation.
Yeah.
That and it's my work. I'm there a lot,
Mhm.
and playing a show doesn't always seem to be conducive to that schedule. So we'll play other places, the Hive. We ran a few shows at the Legion. We travel a little bit more. We'll go out to the like Shiprock and other parts of the reservations and play.
Okay.
Phoenix and Tucson, Albuquerque,
Okay.
just like that.
Yeah, we got a lot of those.
Wherever Randy books us, we'll go.
Okay.
Yeah, I try to keep the local shows to like,
You don't want to burn it out.
yeah, once a month or every other month,
Mhm.
especially since we're not a new band anymore. I mean, it doesn't matter in the beginning. Obviously, you just
Yeah.
want to play as much as possible
Get your name out
and
there.
get as in front of as many faces. But trying not to play the same town or the same venue, like, every few weeks is ideal.
Because you guys played Queen Bees, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
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 We've
Cool.
And
we
we
played
played
Pucifer a few times when it was still up in Jerome.
Okay.
Yeah, we only played the
Yeah.
Queen Bee that once so far.
Yeah, and that was that Cavalera show.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And nobody was there when we played. It was cool.
You know what though? I used to be bitter about that, but then after a while, I was like, you know what? Let's just treat it as like let's just get tight. Let's just get tighter than we already are.
Oh, well,
I started into
didn't
it,
give a
yeah.
fuck. Like
Yeah.
I was just like, whatever.
At first, it does kind of bum you out, but then after you're like, you know what? Fuck it, we're here anyway. Let's just make the most out of it. You know.
Well, that's
And that's when I would like be like, hey, do you guys record ever here?
Yeah.
And I talked to the sound guy. And he's like, actually, we can if you want. I'm like, fuck it, let's just get a little demo thing out of this and put our song and just kind of see how we are just playing in
Yeah.
a room together. Because there's nothing better than working on stuff like that. Like, oh shit, I was a little fast here, a little slow there, or this and that. And you're like, now I know how to. Because one time we got recorded, my old band, we got recorded without knowing about it. And I'm so glad we did know about it because it came out really good. But it taught me how to, fix my timing and where I was speeding up and doing certain things the way I didn't want to do it. And so
don't
it was,
don't you look at me like that.
it was very good for learning. So, and that was one of those, there was not a lot of people there and they just recorded us.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, and that show we played down there too. I mean, it was just an honor to be invited to play from the Cavalera family, and
That's
it was just, just a chance to do that was
Yeah.
like that was enough for I think everybody in the band. Were like,
Yeah, I didn't really
we're doing
care.
it.
I've gone on tours where I've been like a bottom line band for like a week, where you're playing early, man. There's nobody there.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it doesn't work like local and regional shows where, people are there to see all the bands and they're showing up on time. It's a different level. It's a different verse. It was about exactly what I expected, to be perfectly honest.
yeah.
All I cared about is like the fucking other bands watched us and they all liked us. They bought merch from us.
That's cool.
I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. The way I always look at it is, would you do it anyway?
Yeah,
Then
exactly.
There's your answer.
Yeah. So, and then to add to that, like when we've gone down and played Pucifer, more along the lines of like the things I'm talking about, we've had pretty decent turnouts.
Yeah.
And that was the best treatment that I think I've ever received.
So yeah,
up until
Jen
that point.
Keenan is one of the sweetest people on earth. I know that they are not making money because they have bands. Like their wine, soon to be their coffee, that's how they're making money. They're losing money on the bands. They're doing that kind of stuff because
But it's a passion project.
yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
they want to support local and regional artists.
Yeah.
Because the amount of things that she's willing to give you, which we never take advantage of.
Got his laughed at on the
actually-
first rider contract.
Yeah. It's kind of like, yo, we don't need that much. Like, please don't do that.
You're making us feel guilty.
Yeah, because I know, like, okay, so if I'd say the average turnout for shows we played at Pucifer, there'd be like 60 people, right? So 60 people, I'm pretty sure those shows are like 15 or 20 bucks. So a head, you know, the shop needs to take a portion of that. How much are you really going to be like left with? Because it's not like there's a local scene or local bands in Jerome and Cottonwood.
Yeah.
Every band is traveling in. Best case scenario, you can get Cthulhu from Dewey, you know, to come play with you, you know, and that's like about as local as it gets for them, you know. And they just like it because, you know, it's the only way they can play and not have to drive minimally, you know, an hour to play a game.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
You know, because they live in Prescott Valley and nothing's happening in Prescott.
I was gonna
So-
ask if you guys play shows there since you record there and all that. You don't really play
No,
there, so-
no,
We played one show in Prescott.
yeah, when the den was still open, we played there once.
Has the Cottonwood event, the festival they do every year, have they asked you guys ever to play that?
The bike show.
The bike show?
Bike-
No? Okay.
No, no.
Okay.
No,
I was curious.
no, Cottonwood.
I feel like we played on we asked Jen for a show enough. Like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
I mean, we
Mhm.
play there like every few months.
Okay.
Like that show in Cottonwood. That was only the second time I've ever played in Cottonwood.
Mm.
Like years ago, I played a festival called "You're Not Alone in Jerome," and it was in old school Cottonwood.
Cool. So what do you guys like most about being in the studio?
Being done with it.
Pete, not a fan of it.
If there was more of a live aspect to the recording, I would probably enjoy it more.
Okay.
I'm more of like a visual
Mhm.
where like if I see Randy having a good time on the drums, man, I get way more into it.
Okay.
But when I'm by myself in this in the studio, I can't hold the microphone, obviously, so I
Mhm.
can't like move around as much
Yeah.
and do what I have to do to push.
Yeah, and we don't have real studio money.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we can't. I mean, I know there's studios where you can go and they'll isolate all of you and you can see each other and you can record live
Yeah.
and it'll sound just as good as if, you know,
Mhm.
you recorded everything track by track. But uh, I can't deep down justify spending that much money. I'm in too many bands.
Yeah, it's just
I can't spend that kind of money.
I get it.
makes the process weird.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't
It's weird.
been in a situation where I could record live like that
Mhm.
in a very long time.
Yeah.
Very,
I
very
just
long time.
like in just the process itself. Do you like hearing like getting like where it starts to where it finishes and hearing that final product and all that? Do you enjoy that part of
Oh, yeah.
it?
Of course.
Like, hey, this this started as this and now it's become this kind of a thing and
Yeah.
now it's here forever.
Yeah, and then for like
Yeah,
a month,
the
you
drive
play-
for the finished product.
Yeah.
yeah, and then for a month you listen to nothing but that, and then
Yeah.
you put it away.
Yep. And then move on to the next one. Yeah, for sure.
Because it's the funnest part for me is getting it all together and putting out a record. As I'm a bit of a vinyl buff, so
Okay. Yeah. Do you guys do physical copies of your stuff?
Oh yeah,
Cool. Nice.
yeah. We have
Yeah, we do too. So it's important to me. I grew up with it and I still love it.
yeah we have vinyl and tapes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
and we're getting ready to open up our third release, and it's going to be on vinyl as well.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
awesome, man.
Yeah,
That's really
and it's all 100% homegrown. It's us, you know.
Yeah.
We do on the next one that we do have coming up. We do have label help from two different sources, but they're not funding everything. They're like just helping us co-release.
Gotcha.
You know, they're covering
More of distribution part than
yeah, they're gonna help us get it out there, but we're still paying for it.
Yeah.
So
It's the business has changed a lot, even for the smaller bands and the ones that are really, just doing it on their own. There's not much help at all unless you want to pretty much do it all yourself. But distribution's much easier too, which is the good thing. You can go on to whatever you want to release it out of, and you just gotta put in the files yourself and all that. But at least it can go like there's places I'm still finding out like shit, we're on that, and I had no idea.
And vinyl's not getting any cheaper
No.
to produce either.
No,
So.
that's why we just still do the CD pressing, and that's just the best way to do it.
Yeah,
So,
there's a Canadian company that we go through for the pressing,
okay.
and they're like the cheapest, and they do a really good job with the quality of stuff, and they also do the book
Yeah.
like the actual covers and everything too.
Right.
So you don't have to shop around for other spots.
Oh, that's cool.
It's all
You have to
one-stop
feed it
shopping.
together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it all comes completely packaged, ready to go.
Yeah,
Nice.
because like
Yeah.
if you go to like United presses in Nashville, all you get is the vinyl. You have to
You have to get the
shop
cover
out the
and-
cover or the poly bags and all of that stuff all separately.
Gotcha.
You'll probably love this, Steve. I'm sure you've done this. And it's good podcast talk, I suppose.
Yeah.
The first vinyl record I ever played on, that was released by a real label, but once again, we had to do all the work,
Mhm.
and we were trying to figure out like we wanted to sell an LP for $10. Now, mind you, this is this is over 15 years ago, I think. So we bought a bunch of used old
Oh.
records,
Okay.
like LPs,
Uh-huh.
of just random shit,
Yeah.
right? And like it didn't have the vinyl, it was just the stock.
Mhm.
We carefully cut them all down the sides, flipped them the other way around, and glued them all together. Did 400 of those.
Damn.
Oh,
and then we, on the blank side of the cover, we hand screen printed them all, front and back.
All right, guys, Arts and Crafts Day. Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
it took like 2 days.
that's like an old punk rock move. I remember my friend's band.
Hold on.
Okay.
But that LP, because we did all that work, at cost for us was $4.
Nice.
So that was $4 per record. We could have sold the record for 15 at the time, but we wanted to sell it for 10. But the point is we're making money off of it. And then the money we made off of that, we gave to the label to do the repress. And we just got 300 of them, and we got them fully packaged because we had made enough off of selling those that we didn't have to spend anything on the repress, like at all.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And then that repress gave us money for our second LP and so forth. Like, we just kept the money aside and we're like, okay, we can't touch this. Like, this is the gold.
Forget
right
it
here.
exists. It's not here.
We are not eating with this. We are not filling up our tank with this.
Mm.
This is just
There's-
for more
there's
records.
not gonna be- but what about that money we have?
No, we don't. No, we don't have it.
What are
We
you
don't
talking
have
about?
it.
I lost it, man. It's
Yeah.
gone. So you guys are working on a new one though? Do you have an idea of when you're coming out with the next album?
I am actually just waiting to get the files back from the folks that we're working with in Salt Lake City, and then I'm gonna be sending it all off to the same record company that will be Vinny.
We got to do that quick.
Are you guys doing like signed ones and stuff like that too? You fun stuff like that or
Nah.
no? Okay.
No, if I get a hold of them before we sell them, I'll number them, but that's about it. And we're doing the next release is a full, like a 12-inch split record with a band called Hibernaut.
Okay.
And like all of us are busy people, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just been taking a little bit of time. I slacked on a bit of it, but we're probably going to be like 2 or 3 months out.
The music's been done though for a year.
Yeah.
Like it's just how it is.
Yeah, I do.
It's-
Definitely do. Because we
yeah.
do a lot of our stuff remote. Like my keyboardist / instrumentalist guy, he works at a hospital, so it's like we don't know when we're getting him. So me and my guitarist live a mile away, so we'll get together and write stuff, and we'll just send it to him, and he'll do whatever to it. We give everyone creative freedom, which is cool, but it is tough that we're not all together writing the stuff. But we also have enough faith in everyone too, where it's just like we know that it's going to come back better than we were even thinking it would. And 99% of the time it does, which is good. But I still love everyone being in the same room and writing and doing all that. But it's just,
Well, yeah, I mean the things you can do now are actually pretty impressive.
it is.
Like it's not hard to get home studio software,
Mhm.
and you don't even need the best stuff. Like, if you're gonna do something like that, literally, I mean, you're sending stems,
Yeah,
which are usually compatible across the board with whatever you're using,
exactly.
unless it's Apple versus Microsoft.
Yeah, because as long as you can get into a WAV file, you're pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know these cats in a band called Our Future is an Absolute Shadow. There's 2 members of the band I've known, even though he's originally from Nashville, but he lives in Richmond. The drummer lives in Michigan, and the singer bass player lives in Vancouver, like BC.
Wow.
And he also runs a label that has put out a lot of my friend Jesse, the guitar player's stuff. So and how they do it, or at least how they were doing it in the beginning, was Adrian, the drummer, would just record drum ideas, just drum tracks, and he would send them to Jesse, and he would just say, "Write something to this." So they had this thing going on for a while. It started out more like for fun, but now they're like playing selective shows every year and like just pretty much meeting up to play festivals and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we've
But
never played
but
live.
yeah, but they've never. Uh, I don't know if it's still true to this day, but I know they've never really had like a centralized practice.
Mhm.
They're just, you know, they're all talented enough that they can just kind of get away with what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I guess what my point is, like when I was living here in the beginning and I was really desperate to find people to play music with, I definitely had some people back home where I was just like sending things back and forth,
Yeah.
and we were just like, I mean, not taking anything seriously, but like it was definitely a thing. It was happening.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, you want to shoot? Huh?
Yeah. I
Um,
get that.
yeah. So it's just I've seen people do it. I know people do it.
Yeah.
All the bigger bands, you best believe they fucking do it. I mean, we were talking about Cavalera earlier. Like,
Yeah.
I know uh little Igor and like his dad, they live in Phoenix, but his uncle Igor lives in fucking Baltimore.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, when they're doing Go Ahead and Die, like Johnny lives in California,
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
this is exactly what they're doing,
Yeah. I mean,
You're-
you got to think with all the music that came out in 2020 that none of them were in the room together doing it.
No.
There's so much stuff that was written then because they had nothing better to do, but they're all sending files to each other.
Oh, yeah.
Wherever they
I
went.
got how many albums did Thou put out in 2020? Jesus Christ. I like didn't even like that's one of my favorite bands of all time. And I didn't listen to the majority of the things they put out that year because it was just like, Jesus Christ, an hour after an hour after an hour, because their albums are long. They're not short. It's sludge metal,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you're writing 7-minute songs, and some are like 12 or 13 minutes, and yeah, I was literally just like, how are you doing this?
Mhm.
How the fuck? And I know you're not all living in the same place too. Yeah, sure, you're from Baton Rouge, New Orleans, but now you're like Louisiana, Tennessee, California, like you're all over the place.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. It is really interesting, but once again, even to find people to do that, I feel like that's a bigger ask
It
than
is.
getting somebody to show up to practice.
I agree.
So the people that are doing that, like they're real ones,
Mhm. Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah, because there's times that definitely like we can write 2 or 3 songs in a setting in the studio, but yeah, when we send files, it's like it's a week at a time probably for a song. It's like just because he's working on it now and they're working on it now, But I like doing the whole like because we'll record our practices and stuff too, just like in case we get a song, call it the demo, and then we all kind of use it to record to and stuff like that. And it's
Oh yeah, I record new songs and stuff all the time, and I post like shitty cell phone videos on Instagram. But what people don't realize is that's not really for you, for
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
because I'm trying to not to have my phone completely full. I got to delete the stuff,
Yeah.
make room.
Yeah.
So I'll just put the stuff on there, and it's really just us that are in the band that are going to the IG page and like watching the videos when there's a new song, being like, okay, I can't forget this,
Except me.
Oh yeah, Steve's not on social media,
Oh,
so
okay.
and Mason's no longer is either.
Yeah, and you run all that, right? Do you schedule the gigs and all that too, or?
Yeah, I do most of the booking, and I run that Instagram page, which is the most active. Mason allegedly runs a Facebook page, but I heard there's like nothing going on it, which he's just not that guy, and I'm not really that guy either. I just know you need to.
And I do about 90 to 90 something percent of the merch. And that's
Yeah.
and all of it.
Nice.
Yeah. Steve's money bags. But honestly, that makes it easier because then there's really no argument about where the money goes from it.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
obviously the profit's the profit, but Steve can manage the money himself and take out what he needs for whatever the wholesale cost is, and yada yada. Once again, trying to figure out ways to where the next time you go to press something, or you make shirts or whatever, that you're not just paying an arm and a leg.
Is she bugging you?
She's got mushy lips.
Oh,
Grenache.
yeah. And do you guys have a YouTube?
Mason does have a YouTube page for us, and he does post things from there sometimes. But once again, there's nothing quality. I feel like what our band is really missing is kind of to have somebody to follow us around and kind of do that stuff.
Yeah, it's tough to do because
none of us are really like super tech savvy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Steve and I are too old. No, yeah, whatever, bro. Like Mason is, I don't know. I just don't think he cares enough to put in that. And Landon's 20 years old and from the res in the middle of nowhere, so it's just, yeah, like none of us are really that kind of person.
I get it. There's times I'm like, shit, I forgot to do that, or like it's just not on the top of my head.
Well, the last show we played was on April 4th. I convinced my friends that work at a bike shop to let us have a show there. And like the turnout was fucking amazing. Like after we did all the count, there was like over 160 people that came and paid.
Nice.
Not including bands and people that I just, let slide in who didn't have any money. And I remember thinking, like, as the room started to fill up, by the time like the second band was playing, I was literally just like, damn, man, I wish I had a way to record this,
Yeah.
And I was in the band that played first, and I went up to Steve with my phone. I was like, "Can you do me a favor and just record the set?" And he was like, "Oh no, man, oh." So that didn't happen. And then our set, I was just like, fuck it,
But other people recorded.
But Mason came to the rescue, and actually set his phone up on top of his amp, like so it was like out facing the crowd. And we actually got the whole show captured. We have that up on YouTube.
Oh, cool.
And there was one other time he did that, and that was on the last tour we were on. He did it for a show in Eugene, and I was really glad he did, because he caught a lot of really good moments. But once again, like if we would have had somebody who could have recorded the whole thing and actually like could be in the crowd and go around, like I feel like you could just get a lot better images, a lot better shots. Because our friend Shelby made like a short video from our show this past month, and it came out great, and it's like done well, and she did it all with like an app on her phone. And I was just like, one of the things I was talking about at our last practice is like, we should pay Shelby to come travel with us and do this, because the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, that kind of stuff these days, like we're not content creators, but damn, do we need one?
Yeah.
Because that's literally like, unfortunately, the way things have turned. If you want anybody to notice, man, you gotta have content. You gotta have, you can't just like make music anymore.
Well, that's why we started doing the videos, because it was just audio to start with, and we were always on Zoom with like guests and stuff, especially remotely. And it's like, but we had so many more views and people watching than they were listening. So I'm like, we need to start doing video as much as audio. So we started doing that. But I'm still bad about like taking pictures when we have people like in studio and stuff like that. And I just need to get better about all that stuff too. So, obviously before we get all done and everything too, I'll probably take some pictures of us, but it's just remembering it in our generation is like, we didn't have, like when we have cameras in our pockets, we had like 24 pictures we could take.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yep.
Like, it's not like now where it's just endless.
And they were shitty too.
They were, and then you had to take them, wait for them to get done and all that stuff. And it's like, so we never had that, like, oh, let's, document every moment of our lives.
Right.
And nowadays you kind of do have to do that when you're doing like music or, podcasts and stuff like that. And it's, some of us, we do need to hire that person or have someone around that can take pictures and get videos and clips and stuff like that. Cause when I'm doing this, I want to be engaged with who's on. I don't want to be sitting there. Oh, you go
Yeah.
talk about your stuff. I'm gonna take pictures and not be listening to what the hell you're talking about. No, that's not the way I want to do things. I want to be engaged and
Well, I'll tell you what, when you see me take a lot of pictures or a video from a night out or from a show, it must have not been that good. Because the more pictures I took and the more videos I took, that just meant I was bored. Like I would like if I'm having a good time, there's no evidence of it. Like none.
Right. Or back in the day, I had the one archivist, like the guy who was able to somehow score the video camera that was,
yeah.
We
Four-
saw one of those
4 to 6 pounds, and
this oh my God, this like teenager who's pretty much comes to every show we play that's all ages up here. He was out there with I was like I went up to him. I was like, bro, is that your mom's or something? Like it was just big, bulky. It took one of those little tapes that you put in the big VHS tape. It was so old school. And I listened to the video, and I'm sure he's gonna hear this, man. It's all good, man. It's all love. But like the sound quality was dog shit. It felt like it looked like 1995. Like
maybe that was the aesthetic he was going for.
Maybe.
I mean,
Put a little
maybe-
sepia
maybe-
tone on it might look pretty good.
Yeah, right.
Well, you
You're
can tell
concentrating too much on the sound. Okay, that's
well, you can tell he worked really hard on like the production of the video and like all the editing and stuff. Like,
That's cool.
it looked good.
Mhm.
It just didn't sound good.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
you probably could put that into a software and fix it up too. I'm sure there's
Oh,
a way
yeah,
to do that.
probably.
So,
I'm sure there is.
yeah, I'm sure.
But
There's gotta
I
be.
mean, I'm pretty sure this kid's like 16 or 17 years old, so
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
that kind of technology is out of my depth.
Oh yeah. I mean, I could figure out how to clean it up with Studio One probably.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'd be able to do that great of a job. It'd be like a slight improvement.
Well, that would then you have to get it back to that person and have them sync it up to the video again too, probably.
Yep. Hmm.
Fuck, man, that's never fun.
Yeah, and I don't know shit about video software,
Yeah.
like whatsoever.
I'm still learning.
Yeah, and as far
We
as
just
all
do
this,
it through Zoom and they take care of the rest. So it's
yeah,
yeah. It syncs itself up and everything else. When you guys are playing shows, have you had any like major like Spinal Tap moments?
what does that mean?
No, the drummer has not blown up.
Or you can't find the stage, or
No.
like a cymbal falls, or
Well, I mean, Steve has crashed into my drum set a few times, but that was involuntary.
I got knocked into it a couple times. Been knocked down a few times. Nothing like too massive or bad or anything like that. When Trevor was in the band, he was a lot more. He moved around a lot more than our current bass player. So I would end up taking the head of the bass guitar or the head of the guitar to the face.
Yeah.
But that's also self-inflicted, I guess.
And involuntary.
Sure.
Yeah, he would. Oh my God, I remember. Did you ever get to see shows at the Beast in Tempe? It's like in the back of Cornish
I'm
Pasty.
sure I did.
Okay, so it was like a metal bar in the back,
Yeah.
and I watched Trevor clear a ring because he just like ran out into the crowd with his bass and just started swinging it around like a weapon while he was playing, and he was running like full speed back and forth. The people were just like, "Oh fuck!" and you just watched like everybody immediately like move to the back or to the side. Like they were just like, "Oh shit, I gotta get away from this fucking guy."
Yeah, I got hit in the face that night with his bass.
Yeah, you cut your eye.
Yeah, with the head of his bass guitar. And it happens. We're on the floor, punk rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the end of the song, we hugged it out, and it's never a big deal. I mean, you take that risk when you go out and do these things. So
Yeah, I pretty much don't consider it a good show unless somebody goes into Steve and knocks him over into my drum set.
Steve's like, I would disagree.
If we're on the floor, then I'm already under the assumption that it's going to be a good show. Like, I'm not usually a big fan of like big stages or anything like that. So if I run that risk, that means we're on ground zero with everybody else, and this is exactly where I want to be. Yeah. And you don't want to get hit in the face. You just do what I normally do and just face the drummer.
Yeah.
Like keeps me in time. And if you run into the back of my head, you're gonna hurt yourself a lot more than you're gonna hurt me.
Yeah, April 4th.
April 4th,
Yeah.
I heard the noise. I heard like once you hear somebody's nose explode, you know that sound. And like middle of a song, I looked back and I saw him walk away holding his nose. When we got done with the song, you can actually see in the video. I leaned into Mason. That guy just blew his nose open in my like on the back of my head. It's a work risk.
It is.
Oh yeah, I mean that kid was proud of himself too. He was actually our friend's little brother.
We signed his shirt.
Yeah, yeah, he
His
was really
bloody
proud of his
shirt.
bloody shirt.
Do you guys collect any memorabilia, anything like that?
Records.
Records,
I
t-shirts.
I have 34 crates of vinyl at home, and a t-shirt collection that I have about 50 or 60 that's waiting for our next donation run. And I still have over 100 that are in my closet.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at kind of getting rid of my stuff. I've also gotten a lot fatter as I've gotten older, so you know, I haven't been a large in a long time, you know. I was an extra large for a long time, now I'm a 2X, you know, so
That's why I got into collecting like sticks and set lists and shit like that that I don't have to
Yeah.
grow.
yeah. No, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
and then so when I was a teenager and into my very early 20s, I had a pretty crazy vinyl collection. Um, but between all the touring and stuff I was doing and things like that at that age, I found myself often like kind of homeless.
Okay.
So after like having my belongings at several friends' houses and stuff and things like that, it just started to feel like a burden. So I just sold it all and got rid of it. And these days, being around him all the time, I vinyl shop just as much as he is. The only difference is I just give it to him because, you know, pretty much every time we hang out at his house, all we're doing is listening to records and smoking weed. So, you know, um, so it's like I have it, you know. But with these days, with all the digital stuff, like I pretty much just listen to music on my phone, with headphones.
Yeah.
You know, um, I am gonna get a sound system again now that I live in a house, but you know that's for down the road.
Mhm.
And then maybe I'll start collecting vinyl again. I don't know. It's a really expensive habit,
It is.
and I already have enough of those.
Yeah.
I like music. I like guns. Like, I can't, you know.
Well, drums is an expensive one
Just on its own. Yeah.
You're talking about you're still paying off the drum set and stuff, and you know I've laid away plenty of drum sets and snares and stuff too, and it's just like it's just nothing cheap about it. Even you know a drum head, both sides is $60.
Yeah, I kick drum head $100.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, and that's the one I have to replace the most.
yeah.
Because when I don't replace it, I put holes through them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, yeah. So none of it is.
I noticed in the questions before we made this so organic,
Yes.
there was a heel up or heel down.
Yeah, we'll get to that. In
I'm
just a
full leg, baby. Just no technique.
Do you want to get into your rapid fire?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can get into the other stuff after too.
Okay.
So, all right. Favorite rudiment.
1-3-1-2.
Okay. Favorite drum intro
Favorite drum intro.
from like just anything.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
All
I'll answer that later. Pass for now.
right. Favorite drum fill.
Favorite drum fill? I mean, to be honest, I never do anything really that fancy. I'm a single stroke
Or just
kind of guy.
or something else like a song, the same thing, like in a song where you're just like, holy shit, that's awesome.
Anything with Ben Kroller or Zach Hill.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, like you know, I'm a huge Converge fan.
Mhm.
I think Ben Kroller is one of like the best drummers in the business for any kind of extreme music.
Okay.
He's definitely somebody that I try to play similar to. You know what I mean? But if I had to really, there was this Scrams band from Chicago back when I was touring a lot when I was younger or a little bit younger, called Lord Snow. I can't remember the drummer's name. Kind of having a brain fart right now. But every time I've watched him play or anything I've ever heard that he's ever played on, the dude is just absolutely like insane. I don't even know how he fills in the fills that he does. He takes a lot of risk and a lot of chances, but he just fucking nails it. And he nails it live too. Like
Cool.
it's it's
Not
not
just
just
like that one time in this flash in the pan studio.
yeah, yeah. It's not studio magic. It's like no, he really is that nasty. And most of the bands he's been in have really like subpar recordings too. You know, like not so much anymore because I still follow things that he plays on. But yeah, just phenomenal. I don't know. And then like I said, as far as personally, you know, I have a couple fills I really like to do, but like I said, like nothing I do is really that technical, in my opinion. There's people who would argue otherwise, but I really like just kind of the crossover with like the snare and the floor tom while you're hitting the rack, just like a really fast, and then you can kind of fill it out however you want from there.
Okay.
But everything I play on drums, even when it's mathy or even when it's crazy, is still pretty straightforward.
Okay.
You know, I'm not hitting insane polyrhythms or like, and it's not that I'm incapable. It's just like none of the bands, in my opinion, that I play in are really like.
It's not necessary.
It's not necessary.
Yeah.
You just want to play hard. You want to hit hard, and you want to play fast. Like,
Yeah. Play to the song.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Click or no click?
Depends.
Okay.
Depends on the band and the vibe.
What would you prefer?
It really varies song to song.
Okay.
I like if a song is, I know is really consistent despite the beat changing, then I prefer to play to a click because I think it sounds cleaner.
Okay.
But for stuff that just gets really spastic and like all over the place, I'm just like, just let me fucking play it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not trying to spend the next 2 hours figuring out my metronome times because it changes, multiple times in a song. Like I'm good.
Yeah.
That sounds like a waste of time to me.
Yeah.
Especially with this band. Like our songs are mostly a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Like I'm not trying to spend 2 hours to figure out the perfect tempo for everything. And then at that point too, to me, it doesn't feel as clean or as good. I'm gonna notice if I'm speeding up and slowing down. And if I don't notice, Mason will definitely notice.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it doesn't matter because he speeds up everything when we play live anyhow. So
I'm getting better. Okay, so there's this war between me and Landon versus Mason and Steve with the tempo of the songs live, because I tend to start playing everything faster when I see a lot of people really into it. Like they're getting excited, I'm getting excited. I'm still not speeding up and slowing down though.
yeah,
just
early
playing
on,
everything
like we
this.
would get in between songs, like Randy, slow down. Like, come on, man, I gotta be able to breathe. Like, gee.
Yeah. Well, so
No one ran into Steve. You just passed out.
yeah, no, the ongoing
His breathing is labored. Somebody help him.
I control the speed, man. Like or I'll look over at Landon, and be like, Landon, how do you think? He's like, I don't know, it felt kind of slow. I think maybe we should play a little bit faster. So he'll go on the opposite end, and we'll just fuck with him and Mason about it, And then there's sometimes I know I'm doing it, and I just look up and I'm laughing because I'm not gonna if I'm already at that speed, I'm not gonna slow down.
But
Then it's gonna sound really bad.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna stay consistent, no matter what it is.
we have a valid point. I want to be able to breathe, and Mason wants to be able to play the song cleanly, and I'll play the parts that he's written. And it's just funny. Like it's just another part of the band dynamic where we're just like, I'm gonna push on you a little bit because you're pushing on me a little bit, which makes me want to push on you a little bit.
You ever thought of just grabbing one of his sticks so we can't?
No. I learned a long time ago. Like when you're on stage, don't fuck with the drummer.
Yeah, no, I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding.
No, I don't know. I am trying to get better about it, to be completely honest.
It happens.
Or
It's natural.
our last show that we played, which we've talked about plenty now. I actually made it a goal to not really look up from my drums. Like the entire time I was
Gotcha.
playing. Like I just let my hair, get in front of my face and cut my head down because I knew the second I would see kids moshing or like rocking out really hard in the front, I was just gonna do what I always do. Zoom. And I started to realize every show that I play where I don't like focus on the crowd very much, and I just like focus on what I'm doing, it's a lot more controlled.
Okay. Well, eventually you get that muscle memory. You could probably start looking up and still like, oh, no, you don't think so?
No, I have the muscle memory, I promise.
Okay. Fair enough.
So I mean, we still play songs.
Hey, you figured out what works.
Yeah, we still play the majority of our early songs too. Like we mix everything in all our sets. We're not just playing new stuff or like anything like that.
Nice. And double pedal or double kick? Or do you play single?
I play single.
Okay.
I can play double bass.
Mhm.
This has also been a conversation because Mason wants me to do it so bad. And then there was a minute when my ego got involved and people were saying that I didn't do it because I couldn't. So I made 2 videos that I posted online of me playing with double bass and was like, fuck you. I was playing double bass when I moved here, actually, but I snapped one of my where that platform where you put your foot.
Oh, the
I don't know what the
yeah,
technical
I
term for it is
can't
for
think of
it.
it off the top
Yeah,
of my
yeah,
head.
but whatever,
Yeah.
I snapped it in half, and I was just like, oh, I guess I'm playing single pedal for a while, and then I just never went back, and then I bought a double bass pedal again and played with it a little bit, and I ended up just taking it off because I didn't like how my hi-hat was all the way out here.
And honestly, he plays fast enough that he doesn't really need it.
I don't use it that often. I just some of the time it does call for it with what I play, but most of the time my guys are like, man, that was really smooth, that double pedal. I'm like, I was single, man. I'm just like,
Yeah, I mean,
I can do that singly. So.
most of my favorite drummers from like that I was super into when I was younger, like played single pedal and they played grindcore and stuff like that. Like Chris Moore, Magruder Grind, Coke Bust, Disciples of Christ. He he played single pedal in all that. And it's super fast, faster than baseball, considerably. And uh, Dave Witt, when he was in Discordance Axis,
Yep. I was just gonna
he
say.
was, people would say he had like the fastest single pedal blast in the world, you know. Super sick drummer. I think he plays in Municipal Waste now.
Okay.
He's also in a band called Alpha Ghoul.
Yeah. And he played live drums for Melt Banana for a few years.
Okay.
But yeah, other super sick drummer. I mean, once again, does he play double bass? Yeah. Yeah, and he can.
Yeah.
But back in the day when he was in the band that gave him his name, he didn't.
No.
He was just using a single pedal.
Yeah, I mean,
And-
my dad was like, "You're not getting a double pedal till you can master the single pedal, and I want you to be able to play this, this, and this." Like he would hand me like some John Bonham stuff and some other stuff that's definitely single pedal, and he's like, "You learn these, I'll get you one and stuff." And I was like,
Yeah.
"All right, cool." And I have a fast right foot. Like it's I'll put it up against anybody. I just because I can, but it's like it is fun every once in a while to have the double bass when it calls for it.
Mhm.
And I'll use it mostly for like fills and stuff like that. Just like again, I play more of the prog metal kind of stuff, so
Oh, okay.
a lot of times it does call for it.
Right.
But most of the time, my guys don't even notice if I'm using one or two. So
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
there's like some of the music I don't really care for is like, you get into a 4-minute song and it's just the whole way through.
I'll get bored with that
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
it does get boring to me. I like music with the change-ups and the varieties and stuff. Like I thrive in the changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, another guy I want to add to that conversation. I don't know his last name, but I was friends with him for a while when I was in my 20s. We just kind of grew apart, lost touch. Tyler, who I believe is in Thou now, but I met him when his band Yaucha was first starting, and he was in a couple other bands at the time too, that were playing like math rock and shit. But he is probably the best drummer I've ever seen, like live, just throw down. I'm sure he uses a double bass pedal now or whatever. I knew he could play. And when people would ask him why he wasn't playing double bass live, he was always just like, I'm not going to pull it out until my left foot is as good as my right. And that was his thought. But like, if you listen to like the early Yautja releases, you will swear there's double bass, and there's not.
Yeah.
And he's got these tricks down where like he's like grinding with the floor tom while fucking going off with the pedal. He can I'm not sure if you're familiar with like the math rock band Hella.
Familiar.
But he was able to play those songs no problem, which is another crazy single pedal drummer.
Well, like Thomas Hakey from Meshuggah, I don't think uses double pedal, which is insane. Or if he does, it's very, very minimal.
Oh, I could have sworn they did. I
He
don't know.
might now, but I think early on, same thing. Where
Maybe early, yeah, yeah.
Man, like that's crazy. And he doesn't use a big set either, which is cool. You know, he's like a 4-piece or whatever.
It's not necessary. I mean,
depending on what you're doing.
yeah. Like I personally just don't want to lug all that shit around.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Like,
I have a touring kit or a live kit if I need to, and then I have a studio kit. That never moves from the studio. But I can, you know, like if we were to play like anywhere, I'd have another one I could just really quickly just take with us. And
Well, that was another reason why we moved from the studio to his house, is because every time we would practice at the studio before we left, he'd have to break his kit down. And this way at his house, the kit's just in his house. It's in that room, in the same spot.
ready to go.
Yep.
Yeah, they're like, drop everything for a band practice. Sure, he has the ability to do that now. So
Yeah, no, it's pretty great that way, for sure.
Favorite movie focused on the drummer? And I can give you some examples if you need it, but
Favorite movie focused on the drummer? Can it be a TV show?
sure.
Freaks and Geeks.
Okay. Oh, hell yeah. That works too.
No, my favorite part of that whole show was
Drum was a different color.
Yeah.
Endorphins. Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite part about that whole show that's drum related is Homegirl's dad comes in because he's like staying there or whatever. I can't remember the exact circumstances. I haven't watched the show in a while. But he loved Rush, he loved Neil Peart.
Yep.
And he was like, what the fuck is this? And he was,
Him and Buddy Rich or something.
yeah. He was straight up like, this guy sucks. Have you ever heard Buddy Rich? And like takes him into his, dad pad room and fucking plays some stuff with Buddy Rich.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like the highlight.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Because I mean, and not that I don't think Neil Peart's a good drummer, but like I think the massive drum set is hella lame, and I think that people who do not play drums are the only people who say he's the greatest drummer that ever lived. And
oh, there it is.
hey, do you think he's the greatest drummer that ever lived? You do? Really?
And Portnoy is right up there with them. Yeah.
Yeah,
because for one, it's a 3-piece band, and you listen to them, you don't think that.
To be clear, I think they're a great band. Like I'm not hating on Rush at all. I just want to put that out there. Like, and I do like Geddy Lee's vocals too.
Yeah,
so.
that's usually the one that everyone doesn't like.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I value everyone's opinion. I wouldn't be playing drums if not for him, and I wouldn't be writing lyrics if it wasn't for him either. So
That's fair.
Yeah.
I fancy myself an Ainsley Dunbar fan.
Okay.
Like, I thought he was
He's
a
great,
really,
too.
really thick-ass drummer.
Yeah, we've brought up Cozy Powell as well. It's very underrated. He's one of those that everyone's heard, but you don't realize that that's him. Penny Aronoff's another one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then there's just like the whole generations from like the early 1900s up to the 50s of jazz drummers that are all just like playing things that are fucking impossible.
Yeah, or how many of those people were obscured by the people who were leading their trio or quintet or whatever like that, like where all the influence, like, or all of like the emphasis is put on like the horn player or the pianist or anything like that.
Well,
You got
early
that
on,
solid
like,
backbeat going
yeah,
the entire time.
Tommy Dorsey was the drummer, and it was based off around him. And Dave Clark was the drummer. Dave Clark 5 was, there's a lot of times too the drummer was the lead as well. And a lot of like, I always bring up like Louis Bellson was the first one to play double kick drums way back in the day because he broke his arm and he couldn't do certain things. So he used the other bass drum to fill in for the broken arm. So
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
And so that incorporated people actually having 2 kick drums, and it's like people know like who's the godfather of double bass, and everyone's like, oh, Dave Lombardo. I'm like, no, fucking, no, it was way before him.
Oh, God,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, like
Way before.
Yeah.
Way before.
yeah,
Yeah.
So it's just one of those like just
And I you know what? Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you see like old videos of Deep Purple from like the mid '60s and stuff, even like when they were still doing their psychedelic stuff,
Yeah.
they had the double bass set up, but it wasn't the pedal; they had two separate kicks.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. But Louis Bellson was the first one to
Mhm.
actually have that on stage playing, which is really cool to go back and watch what he's doing back in like the 40s and 50s
Mhm.
and stuff, and just how it changed the landscape of music. And it's
Yeah.
very like metal for like jazz too, which is cool.
I don't think there's much of a difference.
No,
To
there's
be
not.
completely
There's
honest.
not.
I mean, it's all shreddy, at least if it's good.
Every instrument's pretty
Yeah.
much showing off at one part or another in the song, every
Yeah.
song.
Right.
Yeah.
Because everyone's guitar solo. I'm like, yeah, well, the drummer's soloing a lot in the song too. It fills a drum solo as far as I'm concerned. So
Yeah, fair enough.
yeah, I
Yeah.
always looked at it that way because you're changing from one to the other, but you're still doing a little show off moment where you're going from
Yeah,
snare to toms, and
Us drummers love our little callback parts,
we
know?
do. We just try and sneak them in when we can, so no one will notice.
You don't get a lot of
And I'm
chances.
not going to tell you I'm doing it
No.
until it's too late. It's already recorded. Sorry, man, I can't fix it.
No. I know that move.
Like, can we just record like? Can we do overtracking like cymbal hits, please?
No,
I've heard of drummers doing that. Bands asking the drummer just to do
They
the drums,
do.
and then they go back and put the cymbals in later. I'm like, I can tell right out of the gate they did that because it sounds off. It's like, just do it live, man. Like,
Yeah, the thing that I just never get is like my goal in a recording and what I want out of a recording is the sound, the way the band sounds.
Yep.
I don't like it when shit sounds like it's recorded in a trash can, but I also don't like it when it's like super overproduced.
polished.
Yeah, and like especially, as we discussed, I think before we pushed record,
Mhm.
sometimes you go see bands and they're great on recording, and then you see them live and you're like, you don't play that good, you don't fucking sing that good, you don't sound that good, and to me that's like a huge disappointment. I would much rather be like, oh yeah, this stuff's pretty cool, I'll go check this band out, and then they fucking blow you away. I would rather have that reaction.
Yeah,
Where I'm like, wow, they were way better than I thought they were going to be, than wow, that sucked.
We saw Shinedown in 2019 at Bike Week, and about an hour in, they weren't able to play anymore. And they're like, "Hey guys, we're having some technical difficulties. We'll get it back up as soon as possible." It took another hour for them to get it back up. And I found out like a couple years later they played a tracks. So I'm like, oh, that makes sense why it took so long. They had to get everything back to sync and then program it to where they stopped playing to get back to where they were. It's like, I will never see those fuckers again. I'm
Yeah,
like,
no, that's
whereas all they had to do is just plug their shit back in, get that mixing board rebooted up, and just play. And it would have been 10, 15 minutes. Everyone sat around for an hour, and I was like, that makes perfect sense because that's why it took so long.
I think at some point, yeah,
I mean, are you really-
ego does come into that?
Yeah, are you
They
really
wanna
that afraid?
sound like that all
Like-
the time?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, are you like, I mean, you practice every week, right? You play all the time.
What's rehearsal for then?
Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe it's time to hang it up.
Yeah,
Do
I
it.
mean,
Yeah.
they're a young band. Like,
Yeah, well, so interesting story. Very not metal, very not face pulp related. When Bruce Springsteen did the halftime show for the Super Bowl that was in Tampa, I had a bunch of friends that like worked the stagehand. And there was actually a moment, and it was a conversation that was heard by two of my friends that were there, because whoever was like one of the head people of the production team, was up there talking to him. And it was just like, okay, so we need to get the backing tracks ready and blah, blah, blah. And Bruce Springsteen was like, no, I don't do that. He's like, well, what if something malfunctions, blah, 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 and we're live? He's like, I don't care. He like stood his ground and would not budge with these people, and was like, my band shows up, we play how we play, we sound how we sound. He's like, I guess he had never played to a backing track in his life, which to me, for somebody on that level of, he's like a celebrity, like that's famous,
yeah, yeah. That's cool.
and he still like stuck to his gun. And I'm not a Bruce Springsteen fan,
Same.
but I respected him after I heard
Yeah,
that. I
you
was
can't
like,
help but
damn,
not.
dude. Yeah, I was
Good
like,
for you.
yeah, and they're old. And the E Street Band looks like the fucking goddamn Crypt Creepers, bro. Like, and they don't give a fuck. They're like, nope, we're gonna show up, we're gonna play how we're gonna fucking play.
Like we're
Yeah.
ready to go. We've been rehearsing for weeks for
Yeah,
this.
and
We're good.
it was allegedly the first time in Super Bowl history that the performers played without a backing track.
Wow.
I see that. I think Prince was like the other one. It was like a year or two after Bruce Springsteen played that Prince.
I assume the Who did
I don't know
because they are all over the place with their timing and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, when
yeah.
Keith Moon's your drummer, you're never going to be playing to a click. So,
Well, I mean, even now, I mean, the
not that
last,
it was then, but just saying
Yeah.
that's the style that
mean,
they play.
I
so.
I remember I saw the Who. I lived in South Carolina back in 1995, and I got to see the Who on the Quadrophenia tour in '96.
Nice.
And that was the first year Richard Starkey was playing drums for him, and it was
His
probably
band's pretty good too.
yeah, he's all right. But it was like probably like the most organized like any kind of live Who that I've ever heard that sounded that good. I mean, Keith Moon was just an animal back there, and if you watch a lot of
What do
like
you
the
say?
old live videos
An
and stuff
animal.
like that, he's just
Well,
he's just back there going fucking crazy.
this is Keith
Mm.
Moon, so
Yeah,
that's who was based off of Keith Moon.
yeah,
was
that
an
was the
animal.
inspiration.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So it's funny you said he's an animal.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was. I mean, he was one of the only like full body drummers back then. Like, I mean, he was just
Well, he's the reason they're
flailing all about. Like,
Absolutely.
you
That's yeah, you gotta hit them things, man. Stop tickling them.
Well,
know.
funny they bring up Bruce Springsteen because his drummer was the one that always said, hit the drums like they owe you money. So
Yeah, Mac
Yeah.
Weinberg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's got his kid's pretty good too. More drummer, father son thing, but
yeah.
Jay, who just left Slipknot, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
or was kicked out.
Yeah.
Nylon or wood tip?
I used to prefer nylon, but now I'm to the wood tip.
Okay.
I played nylons for a long time. My stick of choice for many years was the Vader 2B nylon tips, but they don't really make them anymore. So I started using Goodwood a little bit, because that was like a smaller company owned by Vader.
Okay.
And now I'm just kind of all over the place. I mean, still my preferred size is a 2B. But I'm trying to figure out like a brand I like. I don't like the Vic Firths. I've tried
I can
those.
put you in touch with the company I use.
Yep.
Actually,
Yeah?
they're really good. Yeah.
Nice.
They make everything in house. It's all custom. Yeah.
Oh, hell
I'll
yeah.
let you know. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd love that. It's almost that time too.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah, we're getting about close to the restock time.
Okay. Odd time or 4/4?
Uh, eye grabbing details, a lot of 4/4.
Okay.
But the way the songs are going now, it's
There's a couple threes in there.
no, we do a lot of like 3/4 swing stuff. But really, there's just I don't know how to explain timing. I've never taken lessons, so like I don't know anything about theory or anything like that.
That's okay because that means you're not afraid of it too. A lot of people are afraid of odd time, and it's like it's not that scary. Most bands do play in it, you just don't realize it.
Yeah.
So,
So we have like one new song where like on like the second and fourth measure we play something 3 times, and on the first and third we do it 6. It's just like weird. Like we are definitely, especially with the stuff we haven't recorded yet, because there's stuff we have recorded that hasn't been released. And that definitely has a lot of parts that are not 4/4, but the way stuff's going now, it's getting even less, and like we're getting further and further away from that. It's not like I
it's
said, yeah.
probably like a lot of fun to play too. Like, oh, cool! Like this is a little different, but it sounds like us.
It's very challenging,
Yeah.
which is good because, I mean, to be perfectly honest, until about the beginning of last year, nothing we were really doing in this band was challenging me, other than the fact that it was fast. But that's fast doesn't mean hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sometimes slower is actually harder than faster.
It sure is.
Especially for drummers.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
when you speed up and you can really notice it is when you're playing something slow.
Yeah.
So that's when I always ran into problems. Like, oh shit, I gotta really just
Yeah.
keep that hi-hat going and just keep that.
One of the new songs that we have that is super 4/4, we wrote like a slow song. Well, a slow song for us.
Baseball ballad, man.
But it's really like I gotta check myself every time the second we start the song.
Was that Ducktail?
Like, and if you play it too fast, it doesn't sound nearly as heavy. Like it has to be like,
Yeah.
you know,
Like Sabbath, like
yeah. Dude, slower,
slower,
bro, slower,
Oh, boy.
slower.
Slower than
At
Iron
least,
Maiden.
at least in the intro. You
Yeah,
know?
and that song too, vocally, I'm starting on I start on the one for maybe a third of the song, and then the other 2/3 of it, I have a delay in where I start my vocals on any given line.
So you have to be
it's-
worried about the timing too, then a little bit.
It's getting more challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely. I mean, I think writing for this band has been from the beginning has been a bit of a challenge because it's like play it 4 times, move to the next part. Play it 4 times, move to the next part, or how many ever times.
Yeah, there's
So there's very little repetition through these songs. So I'm trying to match that vocally. It doesn't always work out. I mean, the first album had almost 1,600 words. So I'm trying to cut down on that a little bit because I mean along with the songs changing its timing and stuff, there's a lot more room for letting Mason shine a little bit more with what he's doing on the guitars and stuff, and like what he's talking about with there's like a slide part in it where he's just like, and I'm basing my vocals at the end of that.
Okay.
Instead of starting on the one with the slide, I'm letting the slide happen. So
Letting it breathe a little bit.
yeah, it makes it more interesting for me, and it gives me a chance to breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and that's mostly important. I mean, this gets harder every year I get older.
I get that.
So
I get that. It hurts a lot more for me. So
oh yeah, I'm
Randy
turning
feels the same
50
way.
this year too. So it's
In my mid-40s now. Yeah, man, it's recovery isn't like it used to be when I was in my 20s and 30s. So
well, that's also why I'm not getting hammered after every show anymore either. You know what I mean? I haven't done that in ages.
and I slept as much as I could on that tour because I was worried about that. It's
Yeah.
like, this is ambitious, man. You want to do these many shows? I don't know if I could do this vocally. And he's like, you'll be fine. And
I tried to get a show every day.
Yeah.
It just didn't work out that way because
But by
that's not the way it works.
yeah, but by the fourth or fifth show, I was just like, I got this. This is good. I mean, as long as I get my rest and I stay hydrated and I'm not like,
We had like one day off a week.
yeah.
So there was always like
Yeah.
there was like a recovery day.
yeah, because I think Jackal like a couple years ago did 31 and 30 or something like that. It's like they played one show or one day twice.
One of my
They just played-
one of my
they
old,
just
one of my
played
old
it
That's
bands,
why we're here. Yeah, that's why we went to
Yeah.
the lounge. Yeah.
one of my old bands did a tour that was 9 weeks long with 2 days off the whole time. And one of those days we played in Philly and we played at one of the local skate parks, like a matinee, and then played at one of the bars downtown at night.
Nice.
Like I don't know, but then again, I was 25.
I call it the Broadway schedule.
Yeah,
where
yeah,
you play 8 shows in 7 days or whatever because you're doing 2 and 1.
Yeah. It just didn't even like. I mean, back then, like those kind of travels and stuff didn't really like phase me. Really, it was easy to function when I was tired and stuff like that. But now it's like, it's not that easy.
No, not at all.
I mean, if you don't get enough sleep, if you don't get enough rest, everything just starts falling apart.
Yeah.
Like-
Heel up or healed? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, heal up.
Heel up. Yeah. Oh yeah. Drive it right into that bass drum.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep.
Same way.
I when I first started playing drums, I played heel down for a long time, and then I started messing more with heel up, just for more power. And now I
It's
just
faster heel up too.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
It rebounds a little bit different.
oh yeah, the recoil that you get from the heel up.
Because I've tried both.
Nice.
It's like I'm just gonna try it. I felt like I had a little more power with heel down, but I could still get the same amount of power roughly, but I got more speed as well.
Yeah, and then there was a brief moment during this band actually where I started really getting into the swivel.
Okay.
But now,
So that's where your foot's doing this.
yeah,
right?
yeah. And that was working really well. But once I
It
realized,
can
like,
get sloppy sometimes too.
yeah, it's harder to control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my problem.
Yeah, so I
I
just,
just started going, it's like, okay,
yeah.
it's just not worth it.
And it's not it wasn't hitting. I could play faster, but it wasn't like hitting consistently with the power.
Yeah.
And once
afterward,
again,
it sounded off time.
yeah, exactly. And once again, I'm against triggers or using them, so I was just like, well, nope, that technique is gone.
Yeah.
Like same thing with all these drummers trying to be like, I'm like, bro, beat that thing, dude.
Yeah.
What is this? Stop doing that.
Yeah, but all the jazz guys did. They did. Man, go back and watch Buddy Rich. He was beating the hell out of those things, man.
Yeah.
Like, there was no one that hit harder than him sometimes. It's like, so don't give me that. That's the way the jazz guys played. No, it's not. It is not at all.
No, and I mean, and no disrespect to people who do play like that. I know some really talented people that play that style, but it's just not for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. Totally agree. And I know this answer, but I'll ask anyway. Big drum kit or small drum kit?
Small.
Yeah.
Yep. When I started playing drums, I used to like to play with 2 floor toms and 2 racks, and then that turned into 2 floor toms, 1 rack, and then we started practicing in his bedroom after we met him. And there wasn't enough space for that back floor tom, so then it went down to the 4, and then I was just like, oh, even less. And the cymbals,
Keep it simple, stupid.
yeah, the cymbals have gotten considerably less too. I literally just hi-hat ride, 2 crashes, then
Yeah.
one of the crashes is China, if that makes.
Good enough.
Yeah, I keep that simple. Oh, and I have a little bell thing that I put on top of one of my crashes,
Stop.
Okay. Yeah.
just to have like a second ding,
Nah, I had
a different toned ding,
Yeah. Nice. Recording or playing live?
5.
Yeah, for sure.
More importantly, band practice.
Okay.
Band practice is my
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Good enough.
shows. I usually have too many responsibilities because I'm usually running the show too, especially if it's in Flagstaff.
So it's a little stressful.
I mean, I wouldn't say stressful.
It's overwhelming, maybe.
It's just like it's just like I'm not really there having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was really nice about a show I played recently in one of my other bands is I had nothing to do with setting it up, so I just had to show up and play, and like not really have to worry about much, and that was pretty cool.
It's a nice feeling.
It is, but I really do like. I just prefer band practice. I just prefer like grinding hard for like 2 to 4 hours and just getting things done. I call it busting my jam nut. Like, and it's very important that it happens multiple times a week.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
That's where is probably the most creative too. So
Yeah. It's where I enjoy the writing process of music more than I do anything else.
I as I've gotten older, I've really appreciated the writing process more too.
Yeah.
I think when I was 20s and 30s, I liked playing live and just going out and having fun and hanging out.
You're the center of attention,
Exactly. But now it's like,
Yeah.
no, man, I appreciate the writing the songs and trying something new, or like what do we got today? Coming in with a clean slate and all that, and just hanging out with your buds, people that you get along with and
Yep.
like-minded people. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're all super close. And that second tour we did that we brought up a few times, the last time we were out, that really brought us together because our first tour was like 10 days and we were all close then. So, I mean, but like when we were gone for almost an entire month and we had like a new person in the band. Now, mind you, like we loved Landon before. It didn't matter. We were close with him before. But I could tell when we were like getting on that home stretch and we got back to Arizona for like our last few shows, like I feel like all of us were like that much closer. We were already close, and then it just like if any of us have a problem with anybody or have a problem with something, we always know that we can talk to each other, like we always got each other's backs, if something, someone, or somewhere is making somebody uneasy for any reason, there's not even a debate, you know. Um, Pull up to somebody's house to stay with them, and it seems sketchy, or we're not sure about them. Well, then we're fucking driving and we're getting a hotel. You know.
Yeah.
Just
Having that, camaraderie. And
yeah.
just all in all, for one, go check on her, please.
Just having each other's back, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that's the biggest thing. I'm not sure what I'm rambling about anymore.
I
Just the
don't.
playing live
Oh yeah.
playing and all that stuff.
Practice, and just us hanging out. You said like being around like-minded people.
Yeah.
Like we're like a family.
Yeah.
I don't hang out with too many people outside of my work or my band.
I'm the same way too. Yeah, I'm just too old to just try and make new friends unless it just happens organically at like a show or just out somewhere like podcasting and stuff like that. But other than that, it's just like, I'm not going to go out of my way to be the life of the party at a, in a bar and stuff like that. If I'm at a bar, I'm just there to just enjoy myself and drink. Like when we met Steve, at his work and stuff, we're just hanging out, getting ready for Jackal and just having some drinks and enjoying
He works there too.
Oh, you know?
Yeah, he's the main sound tech these days.
Yeah.
Nice.
I do sound Friday and Saturday. I work the bar Tuesday and Thursday, and I do maintenance on Wednesdays.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
And I go back to the favorite drum intro. Have you thought of anything yet?
Man,
I mean, I have a few I could throw out, but I don't know if it's more like what would influence you. So, like, Come Out and Play has a drum intro.
Unofficially for him, it would be Hot for Teacher.
Oh, cool. So let's see.
No.
Painkiller by Judas Priest.
Any
is one of my
song by the
favorites.
greatest band of all time, Limp Bizkit.
So there was a time when
I can edit that out.
Wait, we can top that. How about POD?
Oh yeah. The only thing that would make that better is if they
fucking
at the same
stopped
time.
fucking playing. If people stopped singing it at karaoke at the bar.
No, I put Linkin Park in there too.
Yeah, terrible.
It's just one of those days, Randy. Sorry.
That's all.
That's an episode I've thought about is terrible bands that why are they popular?
Dude, I don't know. I feel like
Linkin Park headlining like a show that like Judas Priest and all these other great bands are on. How are they headlining this shit?
because they're all industry puppets. No, I don't know.
It was the 90s. It was a different time.
It wasn't the 90s. It wasn't the 90s. Don't blame this on the
I had
90s.
money that-
The 90s was great.
Yeah.
It's the 2000s
Yeah.
getting into the early 2000s where like radio rock was reaching like all-time lows.
Yeah, it's still
Like
terrible.
like I never liked bands like Papa Roach or or Disturbed or any of that fucking trash, dude. Oh my god. I actually think that's bad music. I do. I don't care how good the players are. I don't care. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. No, most of those I couldn't get like Seether and shit like that. I'm like, what is this even trying to be?
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that. Like
Yeah, I mean,
Born did this 10 years ago. What are we still trying
yeah,
to do?
exactly. Like,
Yeah.
and even Korn, like I do not like them, but when I was in middle school, that was bumping. But I was a child. I didn't know any better yet.
Their newer stuff, I think, is their best stuff anyway. But
Oh, really?
Oh, their
I
new
didn't even
stuff
know they were
really
still
good.
making records.
yeah, their new stuff
Yeah,
is actually really good.
a bunch of them got clean and started making better music.
Yeah, like it's really like good stuff. Like
Yeah.
they actually learn how to
Okay.
play their instruments. It's pretty cool.
And they brought in Ray.
Yeah,
Oh,
right,
oh.
the drummers. Yeah.
Are they playing their instruments on their knees still, or?
And Fieldy learned how to tune a bass. which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
cool.
yeah. Instead of it just being a fucking sounding like a fart, Yeah. But to answer the
Drum-
question,
The drum intro, I mean, yeah.
so for a while, after I moved up here and I didn't have anybody to really play music with, I played a lot of music by myself. And I started, especially during COVID, making it a point to like play an album a day.
Okay.
Of like an artist I liked, and I kept going back and forth between Russian Circles, Enter, and Converge, Jane Doe. And it was drum motivated. So I think the song is Verses on the Russian Circles album. And then on the Jane Doe album, the second song, Fault and Fracture, both had parts where I was just like, I was super obsessed. It comes in, you know, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
it had a
Only
lot.
them two know what was
Drum
going on
time,
right
yeah.
there.
It had a lot.
I just wrote a whole song around that.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, it had a lot going on, like just right out the gate. Whereas like the Russian Circle song just had like a really nice chill groove.
Okay.
You know, it had rim shots in there and stuff. Like I don't know, it was just really like fun to lay back. Which didn't make it any easier. It was fucking hard. Once again, amazing drummer, just like a more chill band. But if you think it's easy, you're a fool.
It's like, there's like a drum forward intro. I think one of my favorite would probably have to be from like Good Riddance, the first song off of Forgotten Country, where he's just like, I mean, he's just going all over the place, and you can just hear like a ting, like of like one little tap of like the cymbal in the middle of all of this chaos, and you're like, damn, that's fucking pretty badass. It's a good that's a good solid startup of a song, I think. It's one I could think of off the top of my head, and I'm not a drummer.
No, there's I mean, like I said, there's quite a few that you don't realize are actually drum intro songs and stuff like too, you know.
Are you gonna pull it? You're
No, I'm just trying to make sure I had the song correct. And I didn't, but it's okay.
It's all good.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. I'm not really good with song names. I have a theory, and I started feeling this way probably around the time I was like 16, 17. Where if a band couldn't write a good album, I just didn't give a shit. I don't really care about, and these opinions have not changed since. Like, I don't really care about singles. And I don't care if a band, you know, I think anybody can write a good song.
Yeah.
Regardless of genre, regardless of the band, you can write a good song. But I think writing a good album is like a completely different beast. And if that's not what your band is doing, then I'm not listening. Because I don't care about your single, or I don't care.
I'm still an album guy too.
Yeah. Like,
I want to hear like 10 or 12 great songs
Yeah.
instead of like one or two. Like, would that have made the album anyway, or are you just releasing it because you just wrote it, you know?
well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's kind of where I stand. So typically my music listening habits, you know, are me listening to things in full. And when the problem with listening to things in full is I'm not paying attention to the track name. I'm just listening to the
I
album,
get that too.
you know?
Yeah, there's times I'm like, I really like that third song on that album. I don't know what it was called yet. I'd go back and look, oh, that's the name of it. I'm not gonna remember that, but I know I liked it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm the same way. But are there any endorsers you guys want to mention?
We have no
No
sponsors.
sponsors? Okay. And what do you guys have coming up other than like the album you're working on? Do you guys have any shows coming up or anything?
Yes.
Okay.
I need to consult.
You're good.
Hold on. There's a lot.
We do have a pretty full calendar for the foreseeable future.
So do you want just face pulp related?
Whatever you want to plug. This is your moment to plug whatever you want, because all any of our listeners and viewers and all that will start. No, you're not. So
Shut up, Steve.
you listen to podcasts or something, you just like,
Yeah.
you know, you start looking at
So-
your own, so
So I'm in like 5 bands, 2 of which are really active, 2 that are kind of, you know, fresh, and 1 that's probably never going to be a thing outside of, you know, when we can make it work, because it's that long distance thing. But that band doesn't have any shows scheduled anyway. But May 26th at the Hive here in Flag. 2 of my bands are playing, Decathedra and Dead Soil. We're playing with Healing Magic and Gotia. Healing Magic is Igor from Cavalera and Go Ahead and Dies. It's like his DIY band. That's how I know he's one of us, because he'll still sleep in the dirt with us.
it's cool. It's in the foxhole, man.
Yeah. And the new drummer for Healing Magic is Vance from Saint Breaker. I'm really excited to see that.
Nice.
May 30th, Face Pulp and D Cathedra are going to Albuquerque, playing at Rensden. May 31st, Face Pulp is playing at the Monty V. We are playing with Jade Helm and Vacant Skies and some others. June 7th, here in town at the Hive, one of my new bands with Mason. We're just playing like D-beat, like hardcore punk stuff. The only thing that separates it is like the riffing's kind of melodic. But we're called OE. We're playing at the Hive on June 7th with Downplay and the Res Tones. Weird lineup, I know. June 18th at the Monty V, D Cathedra and OE are playing with this band Drouth. They're from Portland. I've booked them here before. They played at the Legion last time they were here. They're a great band.
Nice.
Not playing that. I'm not playing that. June 21st, Baseball's playing in Tucson at Groundworks. Details on that are kind of TBA. We're still trying to find bands. July 12th is Landon's 21st birthday. So we're trying to, I don't want to say too
Don't
much.
give away any surprises
Yeah.
because this will air before that.
Yeah. Well, we're either going to play here or we're gonna do a show or try to do a show at the Fort Defiance Chapter House. We'll see. There's a lot of moving factions and what we're gonna decide to do.
Subject to change.
Yeah, and we're gonna bring Dog Yard with us. They're a band from the Valley that we are really tight with. They play like crossover thrash stuff. Nice. July 26th, we're playing Shiprock at the Mod. July 27th, we're playing at the Hive with Death Support and Suicide Forest. They are on tour. Death Support's from North Dakota, and Suicide Forest is from Tucson/Ganado. And then from September 11th to the 20th, we're going on tour with Cthulhu. And along that tour, we're playing What's Left Fest in Colorado Springs.
It wasn't through the 20th.
I
thought it was the 4th through the 14th.
No, sir.
You're doing good.
That's the first lead singer thing you've done so far is not know the dates of the shows.
Nobody like I'm like literally if you ask any of them off the cuff, they don't know. I mean, they don't remember it. They don't
It's his
write it down.
itinerary.
He just tells me where to stand.
Yeah. I'm like the unofficial band manager. It's okay. But What's Left Fest is with a bunch of sick ass bands. Like, I mean, a lot of bands that we actually listen to and like that, have names. See if I can pull up the flyer real quick.
And September 26th, we'll be celebrating me and Mason's birthday. We haven't figured out quite all the details for that yet, but we share the exact same birthday.
That's cool.
Me and Mason.
That's really cool.
Just 25 years apart.
Okay.
So
Okay, yeah, so at What's Left Fest, there's Weekend Nachos, Infest, Lack of Interest, Castle Rat, Lagrimas, Ostraka,
Oryx,
yeah, Oryx
908, Acid King. There's a bunch of good bands.
Vermin Womb.
Yeah. There's a bunch of good bands. I'm so stoked to see part of that.
Acid King, Necrot, Mismore, Primitive Man.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good
Death Grave. Yeah, I mean, the point is there's a million good bands. So it's super exciting, and I had no idea really what to expect when we were asked to play the fest. Because they asked us when we were on tour in Colorado last year if we wanted to play, and we immediately said yeah, not knowing any details about it. And then when it got announced, I mean, I kind of had an idea that it was gonna be sick because we ended up going to our buddy's house who sets it up, who Steve's known for a really long time. And I was looking at the old fest flyers from when it was called like 7-1 Grind or something like that. And I was like, these are the kind of fucking bands they're gonna play with. And yeah, sure shit enough, when they actually announced it, I was just like, I don't know why we were thought to play this, but I'm really excited.
That's awesome.
Because we're a punk band.
Right.
And where can our listeners find you?
I mean, we're on all platforms.
Okay.
There's more stuff on Bandcamp than there is on like Spotify and stuff like that. Like,
Okay.
we dropped a single. It didn't do very well, but we only put it on Bandcamp mostly because we didn't want to pay all the fees for like to get it on all those platforms, you know. And we've had our fair share of problems with DistroKid, so we're kind of
Oh,
trying to find something else out.
okay. I'm having problems with my other one, but yeah, TuneCore was the one I was on, and
Mhm.
it was supposed to be canceled. They just charged me for another year. Just now, I'm like, you guys suck. But going to DistroKid because my guitarist uses them. He's like, they're great. I love them. So
I mean, I don't know what it is about us, but every time we set a release date with them, it's always late. There's always a problem. It's never there. And I don't know if it's just because we're a smaller band or what the reason is, but like it never drops when we want it to.
that's what TuneCore was doing a lot too.
Okay.
They were like it shouldn't take more than 48 hours to post. I'm like, well, it's we set it for this date, and it was like a week later. I'm like, you guys suck, man.
Yeah.
So we just told everyone, hey, new album or whatever is going to be out on this date. Make sure you guys. And then it wasn't there. It makes us look like idiots.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So we did so if you want to hear like the most recent thing possible, like on our Bandcamp, we dropped a single for the Hibernaut split. And we also put a song from that split on a mutual aid comp. I think it's forestsummoner.bandcamp.com for that. And it's the song we use is called The One You Forgot. Let me double check. Yep, that's correct.
That song got its title because I forgot it at a band practice, and when he sent me the set list, it was names of songs and then the one you forgot and then more song titles, so it just became the song title.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean our music is out there.
okay.
If I were to make any recommendations for listeners, I would say to just listen to the Dogstro split.
Okay.
It's easy. There's only 3 songs. The first song has a pretty long intro, but it kicks in.
Yeah.
So
Fair enough. All right. Well, thank you guys for doing this. This is great for coming out and everything.
Oh, absolutely.
thanks
Thank
for having
you.
us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Anytime you guys want to come on again, we might be through Zoom if we're not up here, but if you guys want to promote stuff or whatever, just let us know. We get you on, new album comes out or tour or whatever. Let us know.
Where do you guys live full time?
We're full time in Queen Creek, which is
Down in the Phoenix area.
hour southeast of Phoenix.
Yeah.
Hours southeast?
Yeah.
Not too far outside
Yeah.
Chandler.
Okay.
About 20 minutes out of Chandler. So
How are shows in Chandler?
I don't know. We haven't ever played live. I just got more into like the recording and writing and stuff for a while. And then COVID happened where we thought about doing some gigs. And then the playing live music just changed dramatically after COVID anyway. So we're like, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to be playing at 11 o'clock on a Sunday night to 5 people that were at all the rehearsals during the week anyway. So that's kind of my thing. It's just it's different down there. Everything's cover bands and all that, which I can never get into. I know they make good money and stuff, but I just can't. I'm too much of a creative person.
I will die before I play in a fucking cover
I did
band.
it for a while just to keep my chops up and stuff too, but I was like, I can't keep doing this. This is doing nothing for me. It's not challenging. It's all the same shit.
Right.
Because I'd throw out like Queensryche song or something fun, whatever that people still recognize, but it would be fun for me to play. And like, nah, dude, we can't do that. That's a B-side and stuff. I'm like, Silent Lucidity's a fucking B-side. What are you kidding me? They'll know it. Like, nah, dude. Like, oh, you guys can't play it. That's the problem. You'd rather play AC/DC.
Well, I've been doing bands like for like a long, long time now, and I've only been a part of like maybe 2 cover songs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it's gonna stand. And every time it comes up, like when we first got together, it's like, oh yeah, cover songs. I will reach into my brain pan and come up with the worst song ideas, and will never say yes to, even if I think the song would be fun to do as a cover song. I'll just
Well, I don't know, man. I just feel like it's a waste of time. Like, I don't know. Some of my really early bands when I was a teenager, we played some covers.
Yeah.
But I think that's pretty normal.
It is. Yeah. mean, even
But
the
I don't-
Beatles played cover songs.
Yeah, I don't think I've been
If
in
they
a
can do it,
band.
anyone can do it.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think I've been in a band that's played a cover since I was 20 years old.
That's probably about where I'm at. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now my band Ethos, who I probably gigged the most with, we did a cover of "Hey You" by Pink Floyd, but we made it our own.
Okay.
So, and she
Okay.
loves it. She's like, I like that better than the Pink Floyd version. So, yeah, it's very metal, very, very like hard, like if Sabbath took hold of that song and then Pat Terra finished it off was kind of a thing. So that's
Fair enough.
Yeah, but that's kind of what we did to it. But
Oh yeah.
I can't remember the name of the band, but I was in a band. We did a cover of "Sacrifice," which is originally a rudimentary Peni song.
okay.
But then another band covered it, and we kind of took both of those songs and made our own version of
Yeah,
it.
that's where I will do a cover song is if we can make it our own, do something with it. But I'd still
Yeah,
rather not do it.
I just feel like the amount of time.
Yeah, it takes for everyone to learn how to
Yeah,
play it. You could write one or two songs during that time.
Yeah.
I had a friend say, "Man, why cover a song when you can change a few notes and make it your own?"
Exactly. Yeah. Well, cool. Thanks, guys. We appreciate
Yeah,
this.
thank
Oh
you.
yeah. Thank you
Oh,
for
yeah.
having us.
Drumming up conversation.